Okay, Rob Staton, we're going. We're going right now. Live draft party here. It's pucksports.com. It's on YouTube. It's wherever you find your stream. It's on it's all the platforms. And eventually people are going to be able to look back at this later there, Rob Staton, and be like, hey, look at these two handsome guys. How are you, sir? Thanks for doing it.
Well, I hope they do say that, because that'll be the first time that's happened in about 10 years, because I'm pushing 40. So
you're pushing 40?
Really nice.
Yeah, but you look great though.
Well, listen, that was very nice of you to say that. There's many people who may disagree with you, and one of them is married to me, and she lives upstairs. So we'll see about that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, well, but I think that I think you've done quite well for yourself, have you not?
Yeah, I have. Listen, I have. I think it's. I have also especially done well for myself that my wife, who people who follow Silk Strablog will know she's been very ill this week, and she has not. She has worked around it like a trooper, and she has also not denied me any draft sort of work or watching the thing or anything like that. So she's been amazing. So
well, yeah,
big respect to Mrs. Staton this week for it's always a bit of a struggle this week for her, because I kind of go, I can't do anything. I've just got to focus on the draft. And then this week has been particularly tough.
And she's okay though, right? Everything's good?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. She's kind of passed on the illness that she had to me, so I felt like rough. But as I've pointed out to her, it's draft time. You've got to muscle through this.
Yeah.
If you were a GM, there'd be no calling in sick. So you've kind of got to get on with it, and you've got to get through it. And listen, Puck, I can't wait to see what the Seahawks are going to do here.
Yes, you love this day. You love it.
I love this day, but I must admit, I did a little video about an hour and a half ago, and I said, this is what, like, if you're a Rams fan today, this is what you've got. You've got Diana Rossini saying, the Rams are going to trade into the top 10. And everyone's like, oh, it's Brock Bowers. They're going to draft Brock Bowers. And you kind of sit there and you go, Sean McVay and Bowers and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Matt Staff. Wow, this is exciting. Wow, amazing. And then Diana Rossini, I think, tweets, the Niners are trying to get up and into the top 10. And they're going to trade Brandon Ayuk, who doesn't want to be there. Right. And you think, what the hell? Trade him and get into the top 10, get an offensive lineman. So all the Niners fans are excited. And then you've got the Cardinals who are sat there, we're going to get Marvin Harrison, and we've got another first-round pick. Sure. This is amazing. And what did the Seahawks get? Terrion Arnold, cornerback at 16th overall in every mock draft. That's what we get to look forward to. So I'm telling you now, I've got my TV just behind me here, Puck. If they draft a cornerback at number 16 overall, I am going to throw my shoe at the screen.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like this whole cornerback idea. Okay, I don't like it one bit. I do not want to see them draft a cornerback. Like, listen, I remember like last year when they had Witherspoon, I was like, all right, I don't know much about Devin Witherspoon, but I remember initially the reaction was like, I wasn't all that excited about him. Now it worked out later, and obviously Devin Witherspoon was a good pick, but I'm with you. You know what I want? We've talked about it a lot here on all the times that we visited together. And you've wrote about it, and you've talked about it on your own YouTube show, Rob Staton, is I want a big tub of goo. That's what I want.
I'll tell you what I want. I want the Seahawks to do what they said they've been trying to do, Puck, for years, which is be the bully, which is to be tough, which is to be physical. The Seahawks.com put out an article this week with a coach saying, we want to hit people up front in the face. So, okay, if that's, and that sounds good to me. That sounds like football to me. Like, that's what you have to do. The idea of coming out of this offseason and the only moves that you've made that are different to last season on your two lines will be Jonathan Hankins, George Fant, and Laken Tomlinson. that cannot be enough. But, we've got another cornerback to replace Tariq Woolen. That can't be the plan. And yet, I've seen, like I say, we're not talking about, this isn't just some random guy who's saying this. Right. This is Daniel Jeremiah saying he's hearing that the Seahawks done a lot of work on quarterbacks. It's Dane Brugler, who mocked the exact same player, Terrion Arnold, to the Seahawks. I read another mock with somebody who has had consistently highly successful mock drafts over the years. Said Nate Wiggins as a cornerback. I'm sat there thinking, what is this? I'm on Twitter.
Oh.
I'm sort of arguing. It's not really an argument, but I was kind of having a debate with Corbin Smith, who's trying to justify Cooper DeJean. And I'm thinking, what happened to Troy Fatanu?
And he's the guy out of Iowa, right?
Fuaga?
Cooper DeJean's the dude out of Auburn.
Yeah. But what happened to Troy Fatanu and Talies Fuaga and Jared Verse and Chop Robinson and Latu and do you know what I mean? Like all of these guys that, just draft either somebody who is aggressive, physical, and athletic. And listen, I get it. Like best player available, Puck, and maybe John Schneider will draft a cornerback and he will go on that little table that he sits at after the draft and he'll go, we took the best player on our board. Okay. I just have a really hard time believing that Terry and Arnold is graded that much higher than, say, any of these O-line or D-line players that you just went, no, we have to take Terry and Arnold. I mean, he's not Deion Sanders. Like there has to be some thought to what kind of team do we want to be? And I'm afraid, Puck, if they go DB, the kind of team that you're saying you want to be is finesse. And the kind of team that the Niners are, it ain't finesse.
Yeah.
And they win.
Yeah, I want physical, big up front. And I just want, of all the guys we've talked about, Fatanu, we've talked about Murphy, talked about the D tackle out of Illinois. I just want somebody that they can be, where it brings back, right, Rob, this mentality of physical football. And it's just something that you and I have chatted before, that it's just been missing from this football team for the last several years. Really been missing since they went to the Super Bowl. My name's Jason Puckett. You can call me Puck. We haven't even done formal introductions yet because we just started. We went away. We just started doing it. Rob Staton from Seahawks Draft Blog. Of course, you can follow him on YouTube at Rob Staton, all the social media channels. Rob got 15 minutes of my son, the vampire, who just keeps popping in and out here of my office. Yeah, Owen, come on in. You can be on live video if you'd like. The draft starts right now. He's asking what time the draft starts. I was telling Rob, this guy was a fantasy football king. He won my wife's fantasy league a couple of years ago because he's so good. But Rob, we're going to get to Rob is brought to you by Superior Linen Service. He joins my show, pucksports.com, every single week. We talk football on Thursdays. Our Pucks draft watch party, which includes Rob Staton, Mike Garafolo, will stop on by bottom of the hour. We'll head to the VMAC and hear from Bob Condotta, Curtis Crabtree, and Tim Booth. All of this draft coverage is brought to you by our good friends at Georgetown Brewery, largest independent brewery in Washington State. Check out their tasting room. It's open every day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I do want to do a special thanks real quick, and I'll get this out of the way. Hartley & Hartley Insurance and University Place, family-owned and second-generation independent insurance agency that's been serving the Puget Sound area since 1978. Also, Zogs on Fox Island. It's open Monday through Thursday. Grab a cold beer, watch the game at Zogs on Fox Island. And, of course, last sponsor, the one that brings you Rob Staton every week here at pucksports.com, Superior Linen Service, family-owned and operated since 1926. Check them out at suplinen.com or give them a call at 253-383-2636. All right, Rob, let's get into it. There probably won't be a lot of drama here in the first few picks. Where do you think the drama will be? When does it come?
Well, I think obviously the first bit of drama is going to be the minute that I think the first three picks are out of the way. Because I think it's pretty established now that it's going to be the three quarterbacks. The teams aren't going to trade out. And then all eyes are on what happens next. That fourth quarterback. Are the Vikings going to trade up to 4? Are they going to trade up to 5? I wonder a little bit, Puck, as we had all this kind of craziness after the combine about, well, J.J. McCarthy could go third, second. Teams are going to trade up for this guy. And I just wonder, as time's gone by, whether reality is set in and teams are just going to go, do you know what? He's not, if he's even better at all, he's not that much better than Penix to feel like we've got to trade up. We'll let the situation come to us. So we'll see what happens, what Minnesota want to do. I think Minnesota would be crazy to give away, let's say, their first and second and another one, first round, the 2 first rounders and their first rounder next year to go and get J.J. McCarthy. Like, you've got a chance to get 2 players. If Penix is there at 11, I think he's better than J.J. McCarthy. So I think that's where the first drama is going to happen. And then everybody's saying, Puck, that the back end of the top 10 we could start seeing some serious trades. Like the Colts want to get in there, the Niners, the Rams, the Eagles are trying to trade up with everybody. That could be a real sweet spot for some big.
What
big
do you
trades.
think this infatuation is with JJ McCarthy all of a sudden? I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, the weeks leading up to the draft, and I don't know. Is it the looks? Does he check the box? Like what is it about JJ McCarthy? Because Rob, I would just say the guy that I watched play and really, the national championship game, but also the game against Ohio State and the semifinals. I don't know, man. Maybe they didn't put enough on his plate and he could have had more, but my other question would be, Rob, well, why did they put more on his plate? Were they hiding something that he couldn't do?
He looks the part. That is one thing. It sounds ridiculous, but he will walk into a building.
He looks like
and a crusty old owner.
So he looks like a CEO, is what? Yeah. I got you.
Teams will go, I can sell that to my fans as they will like this guy. And then he opens his mouth, and what comes out is impressive. Right. Like I was completely underwhelmed by his tape, and I have to admit, after the combine, I was like, okay, now I understand why teams have fallen for the guy, because the way that he speaks is remarkable. His charisma, he's very naturally comfortable in his own skin. On the field at the combine, you could see he was the one who was engaging with all the other players. I always think when you have a quarterback from Michigan and the receiver from Texas who just runs the 4-2-1 makes a beeline for you on the field and gives you the first hug and the high five, that means that he's connected with that guy in probably an afternoon in a way that most other people wouldn't. Right. And you have to say, okay, I understand that. So that's where the buzz comes. People start to say, I want this guy to lead my franchise. But then you come back to the tape, and as you were saying, Puck, there were games where you watch the Bowling Green game, and he's really poor. You watch some of his better throws that people go, now look at this. And you think, oh, come on, though. Because if that happened in the NFL, the defensive back isn't going to turn his back at that point. He was a little bit fortunate there. Look how that deep ball fluttered. Stuff like that. I just think he is, I hate to say this, he reminded me a lot of Desmond Ridder, on tape. Like a plus Desmond Ridder, like a slightly better version of that. And a lot of people thought Desmond Ridder should have been a first-round pick. And he's just become, he was just very average,
There were a lot of people that wanted him here.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. There was plenty of Seahawks fans saying take him in the first round. There was one or two rumors that they might. And he, great character guy as well. You want to bring him in. You want him to be the face of your franchise. I always think with quarterbacks, what you need, and I do think John Schneider feels this way, so it is a little bit reassuring. You do need someone who's got an X factor to them. Who might have a bit of an edge. Like Josh Allen's not necessarily clean cut, the kind of guy that if your daughter brought him home, you wouldn't necessarily madly fall in love with the guy as soon as he walks through the door. You'd be a little bit suspicious. It'd be maybe a bit of a wronger, but decent enough. But just a little bit of, I wouldn't trust him on a night out.
You went with going with the great cliches for McCarthy. God, I love the cliches. He's the first one in, last one to leave. He's a gym rat. Here's my favorite one. He's Rob. Hold on. He's sneaky athletic. You know what that means. Hey, do you like my Seahawks cooler bag? Yeah.
Anything with a Seahawks logo on, I'm a sucker for. You can tell by my
I'd
t-shirt.
love to give you a beer. I give it. You can have a beer. Here you go. I got a beer. Hey, Johnny, Utah, Georgetown, proud sponsor of the Pucks Draft Watch Party.
I would take a beer. Let me show you what I'm.
Are you drinking Scotch? He's a big Scotch drinker, guys. Okay.
So I'm saving. I was saving this. This is a Johnny Walker Blue Label.
Doesn't that sound like? You know what that sounds like?
So this is.
I want you to hear that. You know what that sounds like? Freedom from you guys back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like.
What do you got? A Johnny Walker? What do you got?
Yeah, so we got a Blue Label Johnny Walker. So this is very special.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was saving this for when I turned 40 in a couple of months. Just I was going to have the whole thing, and I mean, you should have seen the amount of scotch I drank when I got married. That was an ugly scene.
Bad day afterwards, I bet.
And there was the morning after. Listen, there was people worse than me, but it was a bad scene. That guy drank so much scotch that. But anyway, I got this, and then when I read all of the mock drafts earlier, I kind of looked at this and thought, you might have to drink this tonight. Because if it's Terry and Arnold, I just don't think it can't be a sober night. It just can't be.
I'm with you. It can't be. The draft is underway. The Bears, they're going to drag this thing out to build up some drama in this thing. What? Okay, listen. We'll get to the Seahawks. We got you here for until the bottom of the hour. But there is obviously with these quarterbacks. So we think 5 will be taken the first round. Maybe all 6 go. I don't know. The good percentage. Let's talk about the top guys, right? We're talking about Williams, we're talking about May, and we're talking about Jaden Daniels. One of them, or maybe 2 of them, let's just say, are they're going to bust. It never do all 3 hit. Who's the one that likely doesn't hit? You think
of the 6?
Let's just go with the top 3 first, and then I want to.
Of the top 3, I think Drake May is the one that I've got the most suspicion.
And
about.
Why?
Because firstly, I don't think he's anywhere near he's not got the upside that people are suggesting. Like, people have said, well, he's raw, you need to work on things, he needs a year, but ultimately he could be a Josh Allen type. His upside and physicality is nowhere near Josh Allen or Justin Herbert or somebody like that. He's big, but he's very lean. I don't think he's got the same arm strength. So I think what you were looking at, his footwork needs completely reworking. He got away with a lot of stuff at North Carolina. Like, his wow plays, his highlight plays were incredibly fluky. And I don't think he can do stuff like that at the next level. And I genuinely think he looks a bit... I thought he looked like a more erratic Goff. So I'm not sure. Now, if you put him with Kevin O'Connell, then fine. But if you put him in New England with a defensive-minded head coach on an outdoor stadium... I don't think that's going to work.
Is the arm comparable to Goff, you think?
Yeah, I don't think I think it is. And Goff didn't have a bad arm.
No,
he
didn't have a great arm. Yeah.
I think, look, May can do things that I don't think Goff can do. That whole, I'm going to run one way, and then with all of my momentum going that way, I'm going to throw it across my body at a pro day, and everyone's going to video that and put it on Twitter. I don't think he can do that. And May can. So there's that. Granted, May has that on Goff. But that was the player that I thought of when I was watching him. A bit more creative, a bit more erratic, not as polished as Goff was. But ultimately, they look like the same type of player.
Side note, has Eminem, because the draft is going to get underway, Eminem is there with Roger Goodell. Have we finally now closed the book maybe on the street cred for Eminem since he's doing commercials and promos with the commissioner of the NFL? I mean, are we done with him now?
The Roger Goodell... The first Roger Goodell video, I smirked at, and then the one today, I was like, no, this second commercial for the draft really should not have seen the 8 Mile one I'm talking about does not. Now, when I was at university, Eminem was like the guy. Like, it was that time. My best friend at university loved Eminem. I mean, I think he thought he was from LA. He was from Colchester in Essex. So Eminem was always on. He had this huge speaker in his dorm room, and Eminem constantly, every night out we had, was Eminem was the soundtrack to that. And he was probably the coolest guy on the planet at the time. I don't think my friend would be looking at these vids with like as we would say over here, Uncle Knobhead Roger Goodell, and thinking this is it's okay, but standing next to Dre at the Super Bowl was a bit different than being with Roger Goodell.
I just can't get past. They're introducing some of the Lions legends, and really there's like 2, and then they can just like move on to the current players. Like, they brought out like Jared Goff, and then it's like Barry Sanders, and I'm thinking like, after Barry Sanders, who do you bring out?
Yeah, Jared Goff kind of looks like he was in the mall like 5 minutes ago and just wandered across the road.
I'm not sure what Aiden Hutchinson is wearing, but hey, whatever. Hey, good for you. So, all right. So you think it's Drake May. What is it about? We've had these long chats with Jaden Daniels. I just can't. We do a show with John Canzano, JohnCanzano.com, who covers college football, and we do it every week. And I've grown up or not grown up, but grown up watching Pac-12 football, Pac-10 football, and then watching Jaden Daniels play. And it's probably unfair And I think I've brought this up to you. I can't get the Jaden Daniels first few years of ASU out of my head. And I know he's changed and I know he's gotten better at LSU, but I don't know. There's just still something about when I watched that guy play at ASU that I don't know. He never like wowed anybody when he was with the Sun Devils. I mean, guys get better. I get it.
There are two things I'd say. Like, first of all, going into the season, I would have agreed with you. I always thought that last season he was okay. Like, he'd improved at LSU, but he was okay. And then he played the first game of last season against Florida State, and he wasn't very good. And I can remember thinking, yeah, we're talking like a fourth rounder, fifth rounder type guy. And then what he did after that was truly remarkable. Like, he just, it was astonishing the levels that he was playing at towards the end of the year where he was legit. And, you do have to balance that out. What I would say is, you can kind of look at things two ways. On the one hand, Joe Burrow did something very similar. Like, he lost his job to, I can't even remember what the quarterback's name was at Ohio State. He wasn't anywhere near as good as Joe Burrow.
Oh God, who was that? Not Cardale Jones, was it? No.
No, it wasn't. It was. I don't think it was Dwayne Haskins. I think it was the quarterback before.
Yeah, but anyways, the story is he's there. He leaves.
He got beat out.
He doesn't even play there.
And then in the first year at LSU, he doesn't really do anything. And everyone's like, he was a 6th round pick going into the year where he won the Heisman and had probably the best, in my period covering the draft, the best college football season a quarterback's ever had. But then you also say, well, he had Jamar Chase and he had Justin Jefferson to throw to, and several other top 3 round draft picks on that LSU team that went unbeaten and won the national championship. And you could say the same of Jaden Daniels. He's got neighbors, Brian Thomas, very talented LSU team. So, how do you balance it out? I think he played so well, though, from sort of a third of the season onwards, that I do think for a team like the Commanders that are just missing that sprinkle of magic at the quarterback position, I think they have to take a chance in. But they've got to build around him. Like, they have no left tackle. Like, they can't. Here's the thing, Paul. They can't sit with 36 and 40 and feel really smug about that, because when you get to those two positions, you ain't finding a tackle. So I think they're one of the teams that need to ring around tonight and get back into that first round and go and get themselves a left tackle, because if they don't do that, and then they've got to find some weapons.
Okay,
you can't just draft the quarterback and think it's
Rob
done.
Staton with us, Seahawks Draft Blog. I'll read all of his work at Seahawks Draft Blog. I mean, Rob, I spent last night, over a couple of cocktails. I mean, your content is second to none. SeahawksDraftBlog.com. His weekly appearance at PuckSports.com, always brought to you by Superior Linen Service. Also, you can check out all of his videos up there on YouTube. Just search Rob Staton. He'll be doing a post, every round, post video up there on YouTube.
So we're going to do a live stream at the end of every day, and I will do a video reaction to the Seahawks picks, and I will do a live blog. Obviously, I'm not doing it right now because
I know. We're taking your time, and I appreciate it very much.
I completely forgot to set that up as an open thread before I jumped on.
Take your time if you have to do it.
There'll be people in the comment section going, they'll be going, "Oh, where's the live blog?" So I've not done that. So apologies if you're listening to this, then it'll be
biggest need for the Seahawks.
That is not an easy question.
Well, that's why you're the expert.
Because I'll try and do it as concise as possible. Biggest need will be franchise quarterback for the long term until they find it. But if we accept they're unlikely to find that answer in round 1 this year, then it is either terrific offensive lineman or game-wrecking / game-changing pass rusher, in my opinion. Whether that's interior or outside line.
Best case scenario, them sticking at 16, where guys are mocked and what we think, not like, hey, we want one of the top 5 player, because that's not a reality. A reality though. What's best case for Rob Staton reality that happens at 16?
Fatanu's knee has spooked some teams, but the Seahawks medical doctors are confident that he can play long term and beyond first contract. The Seahawks trade down a bit and get a good pick out of it, and Fatanu's still there for them when they make that pick. That's the best
How
case
far are you
scenario.
comfortable to go down?
22.
22. So you're picking up. So under that scenario, you're picking up a second round pick.
I think there's if you do it to 22, I think the best you can hope for is to swap a second for either your third or a fourth. And hopefully one of the fourths, because I still think you need that third.
Do you think it's paramount? I mean, listen, this guy, I mean, John Schneider is going to go crazy if he's going between pick 16 and 81. He's going to go nuts. Do you think it's paramount that they have to get a second round pick? Now, I'm under the belief, just me, I don't think it is, just because I look at Leonard Williams. I know we've kind of gotten back and forth on Leonard Williams. I look at Leonard Williams as their draft pick. And so I'm like, all right, that's the second round pick. I'm willing just to be like, fine, I count Leonard Williams as a second round pick. Let's get to the third round. That's not how Schneider thinks. And, he just wants more and more and more. So what do you think? Do you think that he will no doubt try to trade down so he can acquire another second round pick? I mean, he can do future picks and all that. He can trade a player if he wants to.
I mean, I think he'll listen. I don't think it's imperative because it's one player. And the second round is not, it's not so good. And what would you get? You'd be getting like the 50th pick or the 58th pick or 60th pick or whatever. So it's not as if you are, that pick is necessarily going to change the complexion of your franchise. And whereas a really good player at 16 might. So I don't think it's imperative. I think he possibly will want to do that because it's a long wait, 65 picks. And I do think, Puck, I genuinely believe that at some point they're going to draft a quarterback. And I think that the two names, I think that if they want Spencer Rattler, they're going to have to get in the second round.
Really?
And if they can't get in the second round, I wonder if they'll focus on Michael Pratt as high as the third round.
And he's the QB out of Tulane.
So and listen, he's not the upside with him is not as high as Rattler. But what I will say for Michael Pratt is he's incredibly athletic. His athleticism is on a par with Drew Lock, who we know they loved.
Sure.
He ran very fast, as did Lock. Great short shuttle, light Lock. He didn't have Lock's arm. But there's one thing I would say is 2021 season, Tulane at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, something like 60-point favorites. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though. Expected to hammer Tulane. Tulane were driving to win the game in a 36-35 shootout. And it was because of Michael Pratt. He got hammered in that game. They had his helmet knocked off multiple times. He showed more balls in that game than I think I've ever seen from any quarterback in any game. And stuff like that, I think, resonates with John Schneider. And he has elevated Tulane to a very high level, beating USC in a big bowl game, the Cotton Bowl, the season before last. Would have been there again if he had not missed a couple of games with injury last season. So I think that they will draft a quarterback at some point. In order to do that, though, Puck, and to have that ability to add another quarterback, they're probably going to have to get some more stock.
If you're watching this, they still have not made the pick, though. They're on the clock are the Bears, although they're saying now the pick is in. Who could it be as the 2024 draft is about to get underway officially with the Bears making the first pick? They're going to take Caleb Williams, and then the Commanders will be on the clock, followed by the Patriots, Cardinals, and then the Chargers rounding out the top five. We think the Seahawks will pick probably around 7 o'clock. Jason Puckett, Rob Staton here with you. I was told to put there it is. It's all brought to you by the greatest brewery in the history of Washington State, Georgetown Brewery. Big thanks to Manny, Roger, Crystal, Matt, and the entire crew at Georgetown Brewery for delivering the draft show here tonight on YouTube, also at pucksports.com. It'll be rebroadcast later as well on all the podcast platforms. Hey, shocker, Rob, Caleb Williams was selected number 1 overall. What his comp is always going to be Patrick Mahomes. Fair?
Yeah, I think it is fair because in many ways, Puck, he does things that even Mahomes can't do. There are plays where he is the extension of plays in the pocket where he is evading 2, 3, 4 pass rushers to extend plays. He is throwing downfield from the most insane angles. He did, like Mahomes, when you watched Mahomes at Texas Tech, he did things that you just thought, what are you doing? Like, that's just, it's hard to think of that now because we know Mahomes to be the best that may ever play the game. But at Texas Tech, he did things that just left you going, I don't understand that. And Caleb Williams doesn't do those things. And he can play with time. And it'd be wrong to describe him as somebody who's just this haphazard, Russell Wilson scrambling quarterback. He can play with timing and in the functioning offense. And the Bears have kind of built an offense now, which, I mean, look, the thing that's going to hold him back, Puck, is that Shane Waldron is the offensive coordinator.
And this is what I always think is interesting when it comes to these quarterbacks and the drafting of the quarterbacks and the evaluation of the quarterbacks, Rob, because as much as it is about the talent of the quarterback, and sit there and watch this guy the last few years, I don't know if I've ever seen a more talented quarterback. I'm with you on the Mahomes thing. Like, it's Mahomes, but he's got this thick bottom, like trunk and legs, and he is just thick. He's like a running back. He's got an unbelievable arm. He's a beautiful looking quarterback. But a lot of the times, is it not just about fit and where you go? Because, like, let's say the Chiefs don't move up and draft Patrick Mahomes, right? Let's say that whoever he goes, I don't know, the Bears or something, and he doesn't go to Andy Reid. Is Patrick Mahomes the Patrick Mahomes we know today? Because a large part of that is, I mean, obviously it's his skill set and his talent. But a lot of that has to do because he went to a mastermind offensively. So you bring up like Shane Waldron, okay? You bring up Eberflus. This guy almost got fired last year. Like, is he even going to be
This is why ownership matters.
Yeah, right.
Because the Bears should have known. We've got the first overall pick. With the greatest respect, do we want Matt Eberflus and whoever he brings in as offensive coordinator? As it happens, the guy that Jackson Smith and Jigba practically
laughed at him. He laughed at him in an interview.
Yeah. And now he's. But the funny thing is I know a few Bears fans, and they're all reaching out to me going, "How good Shane Waldron? Then what's the inside?" I'm like, Matt, you don't want to know. You just don't talk to me today. Like, you don't want to know what I actually think about Shane Waldron. And they were like, "Oh, because we thought he was really good." And they are going to be in for a shock. And the thing about Williams is he's probably going to have another offensive coordinator next year because they're going to fire everybody and bring in a new head coach. So we will see. You're absolutely right. If he ends up with McVay and Shanahan, or even the guy in Detroit who's obviously nearly ended up in Seattle, Andy Reid. If you end up with somebody like that, Kevin O'Connell, like, fantastic. If Kevin O'Connell had just drafted him to be the Minnesota Vikings, fantastic. He's got Shane Waldron.
I think there's guys that can. Williams certainly being taken number one, right? He's got the ability to overcome all that kind of stuff, right? I get it, but like, you fire him, do you get into a different system, and now you got to change things? I think one of the things, it's important for. Let's look at Bryce Young for last year. Now, maybe Bryce Young just was overdrafted and he wasn't as good as everyone thought he was going to be, but they draft him. Terrible ownership, right? Terrible ownership. And then he gets a head coach, and now that guy gets fired. He's going to be on another new system. And with that head coach, he's probably going to be on a system. I wouldn't doubt it. In 3 years, he'll be on in 4 years, he'll be on his third different coordinator.
And it's a year ago that Bryce Young will have been on top of the world. And a year later, we've all practically written him off, like as a bust. And it's amazing how things quickly will turn for you in the league. And listen, it wasn't just the Panthers who thought Bryce Young was. I remember talking to somebody. I never thought that Bryce Young was. I had him as like the fourth best quarterback on the board, and the receipts are there based on the coverage of a year ago. But I remember talking to somebody who is an elite talent evaluator, and he thought that Bryce Young was the best quarterback in the draft as well. A lot of people did, and a year later, because he's in the wrong situation, we're all wondering if he's a busted flush after 1 year.
Coming up bottom of the hour or so, Mike Garafolo will join us. We have a few more minutes here with Rob Staton. The Washington Commanders are on the clock right now. They pick second. They got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here before that. Hey, I got a good idea. I got a text from a buddy. You can't do it because you got scotch there, but if you have some beer, of course I'm drinking Georgetown beer, Johnny Utah. Send me a picture on Twitter at Puck2040 Where are you watching? Maybe a picture of this chat that's going on right now. Split screen with your TV, and then also whatever you're drinking. Whatever cocktail you got in your hand, beer you got in your hand. Rob's going to be pouring into the scotch later once this is all over. Rob, what time is it right now over in England?
It is 1:26 a.m. Can I tell you a little story?
Yes, you can.
So this will go on until my children wake up. Like, this will go on, and my kids will wake up when this finishes. My wife's bedridden for the rest of tomorrow. I will then go and take them to school. We will walk to school in the morning. I'm then going to come back home. I still want to go to bed. And here's what I have to do, Puck. And apologies to anybody who is eating at this time. I then have to take one of my dogs to the vet to have their anal glands cleansed. That's
what a day.
And after that's done, I will sleep.
That's unbelievable, man. Your dedication is just unmatched, man. It's absolutely unmatched. All right, so you at 16, let's assume Penix is there. What would you do? Wow.
I mean, I'd seriously consider taking him, because listen, I genuinely believe you have to take chances at quarterback. You can't sit there forever waiting for the obvious player to fall to you, because, like, I don't think they're going to fall through the gaps anymore. I think anybody who looks like Russell Wilson at Wisconsin is going to go early these days. You can't get away with he's sure will find the edge. Anybody who's erratic like Mahomes but has got the talent of Mahomes, they're going to get drafted first overall like Caleb Williams. So you are going to have to, like, this is it now. Hey, Michael Penix has got an injury history and he's not got the 6'5" frame. So do you want to take a chance on that? You have to, you've got to take some shots. And the thing about Penix is that arm is special. So I probably would seriously consider taking a chance. And let's put it this way. If the Seahawks took him and it didn't work out, I wouldn't blame John Schneider for taking that chance. But what I will blame him for is if he takes Terrion Arnold at number 16 and the Seahawks have more games like that bloody Pittsburgh game in week 17 next season, because there are some risks that are calculated and worthwhile. And there are others where you are just, you're thinking overthinking.
Jaden Daniels was just taken second overall by the Washington Commanders. As you are all watching this and listening to us at home, the second quarterback taken, obviously Caleb Williams went number 1. Jaden Daniels goes number 2. First team All-American last year. Started his career at Arizona State, transferred to LSU, and it was just sensational. So it was awesome to kind of watch him. Just be a part of it, man. He was sensational there at LSU. But what do you like about Daniels? Maybe what do you don't like about him?
Deep ball, very good, very accurate, and as a scrambler, just has that ability to take the game away from the opponents. And I know people have focused on his frame and worrying about how he's going to get hit, and that's always an issue with any running quarterback, and he's probably going to have to work to build a frame that can withstand some of that. Certainly something that Lamar Jackson has done. But I wouldn't diminish how dynamic he was. I mean, like, he played some good teams in the SEC, and he didn't just sort of run for the occasional positive gain. I mean, we're talking like he's like on a ski slalom, like weaving in and out of tackles, and you can't get near him. So I think it's just a complete X factor weapon as a quarterback, but he can't do it on his own. And when he goes to the NFL, Washington are going to have to build around him now. But the thing is that Washington and Chicago are two teams that have felt like they've been scrambling around for a quarterback for a long time. This is a huge opportunity for both franchises who have messed things up from the higher level for a number of years. Let's see if they can now build structure around these two young quarterbacks to have success.
You're the best, my friend. I appreciate it very much for joining us. You've been great. We're going to cut you loose. I'm going to let you go back and actually watch the draft and have fun, okay? Thanks for doing it. Thanks,
Matt. Listen,
tell everybody where they can find you and what you're going to be doing after the draft.
SeahawksDraftBlog.com, live blog, and just look for Rob Staton Football on YouTube, because we will have big reaction at the end of the day to what the Seahawks have done. And I will just stress again, please get this right today. No DBs. Trenches, Physical
Cheers.
football.
Okay. Can't wait till you have
Cheers.
that scotch later. There
Enjoy.
he is, Rob Staton from Seahawks Draft Blog. Let's head to Los Angeles right now, as I believe I'm going to let him in here. Okay. Waiting for host to let you in. Yeah, I'm going to let you in right now. There he is. The good-looking, the talented Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network, who joins us every week, brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance and Zogs on Fox on. You tell me what's going on. How are you? How's Los Angeles? How do you like the West Coast?
It is fantastic. We're having a great time out here. You know, it's we got a great setup here, as you can see. We'll give you the quick tour of the newsroom. Everybody
great.
here working
Aren't
hard
they?
behind
Look
me.
at everybody, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. We got our set over there, our newsroom set that you see we do our shows from. We did our show this afternoon. NFL Draft Kickoff with me and Steve Weiss. We'll be back on tomorrow in the afternoon. The morning, your time, 10 a.m. You know, I'm
it's
on West
your
Coast
time.
West
You're
Coast
on
guy.
the West Coast. You're going to like the West Coast. I think it's more for you.
You keep saying that. You're right.
It's more for you. Thank you for doing it, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. Again, he joins us every single week, every Thursday, brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance. Also on Zogs on Fox Island. He's here with our special Pucks Draft Party as you're watching on YouTube, also pucksports.com and on X right now. And our coverage all brought to you by Georgetown Brewery right there. I'm having a few. I got to slow down on these beers. I'm going to tell you that right now because I don't know how I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm like Scott Hansen. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I just went before I came on with you, so I wouldn't have any problem.
It's good for you. All right, let's get to the picks. Shocker, Caleb Williams went number 1 to the Bears. Why was that a reach, Mike?
A reach? No, it's listen, they like his playmaking ability. They like, the more you saw him, in the media, in the spotlight pre-draft, you saw that, he's not necessarily the commanding presence, but he leads in his own way. He commands the room in his own way. Speaking of commanding, we now have the number 2 pick with Jaden Daniels, who does it a different way. And Drake May, who's like that dude. He's that presence, which I think we talked about before. And now he's going to be that guy for the New England Patriots at number 3. All right. So, I like how all these guys do what they need to do in different ways, and Caleb Williams should be just fine in Chicago.
So the draft is going as expected, right? Williams goes number 1 to the Bears. Daniels goes number 2 to Washington. Now Drake May goes number 3 to North Carolina. So the Patriots had all that we talked about, had all this smoke that they were, we're going to trade down. We're open for business. But is this the guy who ultimately that they wanted? Let's say Drake May was taken number 2 by Washington, and they had Daniels there. You think they would have taken Daniels or traded down?
Do I think they would have taken Jaden Daniels? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That's probably a point where they trade out at that point. They would have had people that would have come up there to that point for sure. The Vegas Raiders tried to get up to number 2, and were shut down at every turn. I mean, they tried their best. Antonio Pierce, we know the history with him and Jaden Daniels. It couldn't make it happen. So it certainly would have been at number 3 was their entry point. And they felt like they had a deal in place if they can get him to 3. He didn't get there.
All right, so now we got the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to be on the clock here at number 4. This would feel wide receiver, right? I mean, we're going wide receiver here. Don't we need to build people around Kyler Murray? Who do you think is going to be the first wide receiver off the board here? I mean, there's some talented ones. I mean, obviously got Nick.
If it's not, I mean, what did CJ Stroud say? Don't be dumb, right? He told all talent evaluators, don't be dumb. Take Marvin Harrison. So I would anticipate that that's the way that they are going to go here. It sounds like there is not going to be a trade here. I was looking to see if the Giants would come up from 6 to 4 to make it happen. It does not appear that is going to be the case. It looks like it's going to be the Cardinals making the pick, which you would think wide receiver. There had been some talk about offensive line for them too, but they do have Paris Johnson they drafted last year, signed Jonah Williams, so you think they'd be set. What would
if the Giants wanted to move up from 6 to 4? What's the thinking there?
Well,
on the Giants' part.
It would have been
for quarterback. Okay.
So the question now is if they stay at 6, do they then take their quarterback at number 6? Because, and they had been talking to both the Cardinals and the Chargers. So there's a possibility they could still move from 6 to 5. We'll see if that winds up being the case. But the Giants taking a quarterback is kind of what I'm rooting for because I don't have a rooting interest either way, but Giants fans are going to go absolutely batshit. So
hey, see, and this is the thing is you can swear on this. See, if you were on
Yep,
the regular network,
I let it
Rap
rip.
Sheet can't do this, Pelissero can't do this. You can do
Yep.
whatever you want.
Yep, that's right. That's
They,
correct. I can't tip the picks though. We
I
got
know.
the pick line right behind me, so
Can
I may
you-
have to mute. Oh, hold on. We got the pick is in, so I may have to mute when they announce.
Do
it
they
so you don't
announce it
hear
over the air? Like so they announce it in the building?
No, hold on.
I just want to hear it. Can you leak it one time for just goodness sakes? Come on. So it comes
All
on
right.
okay,
tell Puck.
so it comes
Nobody
on
tell Puck.
wait a
Can't
minute.
till
So
he
it
sees
comes
the
on a
air.
big speaker in the LA studios?
It sounds no. It's the pick line at the draft. This is what every team
Okay.
gets.
Okay.
So they're all listening to the same thing. I believe that's Don Aponte with the NFL who's doing the announcing on the pick
Okay.
line there. But yeah, so they'll announce the pick, and then you'll hear them count down the
Yeah.
commissioner. 30 to the commissioner.
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
9, 8, and the
That's
and he comes
crazy.
up there. So it's actually
all-
pretty
I
fun.
mean-
You know, this is the stuff that people. So the people that are tweeting it, are getting it from somebody in a team that's listening to the same pick line. They text them
Sure.
and they put it up right away. So I'm
I
down.
know, but this is the old. Well, I'm hearing, this would be a good spot for a running back.
Oh, that's the Chris Berman, right? Oh, the Cardinals.
You have a very underrated good Chris Berman. It's pretty damn good. It's not bad. Okay, so it's been chalky so far. When do you think it gets when
Yeah.
and this is not a word, but whatever. When does it get unchalky?
When does it get unchalky? Potentially here at number 5.
Really?
Potentially here
With
at
the
number
Chargers.
5, yeah.
What do you think what do you think old Harbaugh's
well,
up to, huh?
There's a lot of talk. What's up, Clayton? There's a lot of talk.
Does he have a jean jacket on? Is that an acid
they-
wash jean jacket he's rocking back there?
He lives in L.A. He can wear whatever he wants and call it
That's
fashion.
true.
So, what was the
What do
question?
you think? What do you think the Chargers? What is Harbaugh going to do? What has he got something cooking?
Well, there is a thought that they like J.C. Latham,
Oof.
the offensive tackle out of Alabama, so he could be a possibility. But sounds like they would like to slide back a little bit and then take him. Now, there's other teams that like him, so be careful if you're sliding back, Chargers. So, yeah, I think that this is where it gets interesting. It can go in a number of different directions. Could be a wide receiver, could be an offensive lineman, could be a trade out. So I'll keep listening to the pick line. If they announce a trade on the pick line,
Okay, so we can get the trade. We can get the trade. We just can't get the picks. See, that doesn't make sense to me. Why can we get the trades, but we can't get the actual picks? I mean, I don't know.
Because that's going to be announced right away on the broadcast, so I can.
Was there?
I can say it then.
That Latham guy is. I mean, I've never seen someone that size move like that dude moves. Unbelievable.
You see this picture, by the way? I just retweeted. Paris Johnson, the left tackle for the Cardinals, lifting Marvin Harrison Jr. like he weighs about 30 pounds, if that. It's just kind of very. Now it's a combination, I'm sure, of some ups and some strength together. But those two former Buckeyes are reunited there in the desert.
Marvin
so
Harrison Jr., of course, his dad, a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He's gone number 4 now to the Arizona Cardinals. So Kyler Murray gets some much needed offensive help. It's a Puck. It's Mike Garafolo. It's Puck's Draft Watch Party. It's all brought to you by Georgetown Beer. Big thanks to Manny and Roger and Crystal and Matt and everybody associated with that fine brewery, Georgetown Beer and Georgetown Brewery, for bringing you this live coverage all night long. We're going to go as long as we can before I have to use the restroom. Seahawks, of course, pick at 16. We think that's around 7 o'clock. We'll head to the VMAC around 6 o'clock here from Tim Booth, the Associated Press. Your guy, Curtis Crabtree, who you knew back in the day for Fox 13. And if Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times can somehow work his computer, we may have Bob Condotta on there as well. So Marvin Harrison Jr. goes number 4 to the Cardinals. Number 5, of course, that is the Chargers are on the clock. They're at number 5. Jim Harbaugh, the new head coach there of, I always want to call him San Diego. I know it's LA. What do you think it's going to how do you think it's going to turn out for him? This is dance number 2 for him, Mike, going into the NFL. Will it be the same as the first trip? It wasn't like the first trip around was bad.
No.
They went to a Super Bowl. They were good.
No, I think he's different, and I've sensed a different vibe about him. I don't know how long it's going to last, but he seems like he's little bit more granddad mode, and a little bit more tame, and maybe having won a national championship and gotten that business done at Michigan maybe has tamed him a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's hard for me to suggest that in the off season. He's still going to be Jim Harbaugh, just a little bit off, living in that mobile home as he is right now, and there'll be some quirky elements to him, and over time he grinds on. He even grinded the people at Michigan. I remember Tom Pelissero mentioning it on the air one day, saying that he really wore on some people at Michigan. Oh, really? He wore on upper management at Michigan? You're kidding me. Did not see that one coming. Look at you tweeting while I'm talking. Good for you. We'll see how long the honeymoon lasts. When they hired him, the point I kept making is when you hire Jim Harbaugh, you're not hiring him for 10 years, you're hiring him for 5, but they're going to be 5 good years.
Yeah,
So
I just think I'm with you on that one. He's immense. I wanted him in Seattle, big time. I just did. I desperately wanted him in Seattle, and you and I talked about that. And I mean, you made that point every time that, listen, but you're going to get him for a few years because then he's out and he will never, you were right. The John Schneider and, obviously the relationship with Harbaugh, that just wasn't going to work. Too big of personalities to work together, but he's a hell of a football coach. And I just love the fact that the guy, if people don't know, he is living in his RV right now. His family isn't out, and he is living in an RV park, like right by the facility. And he every night he goes out there and crushes a few beers with all the other people that are living in the RV park. It's awesome. It's just
great. That's horrible.
Great. I would love for that. I would love to sit there and be next to him. So,
did we talk about the post when he was with the 49ers about him taking out the trash?
Remind me. Right? I don't remember.
They did a day with Jim Harbaugh, right? And he's taking out the trash in his khakis.
Okay.
I gotta go find it. It was he's got 2 cans behind him and he's smiling. And he's walking in his khakis and his 49ers sweatshirt, and it was just the weirdest. It just didn't. I said this before. I was like, why did you guys do this? It's the weirdest thing. Oh, to show the human side of him. I was like, that's not human. That's a robot. He is a robot.
He's unbelievable. So do you think could this be on the move? Do you think this pick's on the move, or are they staying there?
I don't know. The longer it goes, the more I'm thinking they're fielding offers.
And we'll know when you hear. And when you hear trade, you can announce the trade. Just can't announce the pick. That's what I love about having you on.
It appears Ian says they're picking and they're not trading.
Rappaport, come on. We need a trade. We need chaos. We need chaos here on this live draft show. Who's the guy behind you again, the Niners fan? Clayton.
Clayton.
I love the jacket. Clayton, love the jacket. Love the Alex Smith jersey.
He loves the jacket. He loves the Alex Smith jersey.
I don't love the hat, but
he loves it all. Oh, he doesn't love the hat.
But it works. It all works. It all works for Clayton.
Forgot about that. They love that you love the hat, but they don't love the hat.
They love that you love it, sir. What is Seattle going to do? Please tell me they don't trade down. What are you hearing? Are you hearing anything on that?
Do they trade down? I don't know. Stop asking me. I'll tell you when I know. Not you.
You're yelling at people.
Texting
you. Is that Pelissero and Rappaport?
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Trade down's going to be an option, but I know that there are going to be some defensive players that are going to be available in that cluster, and there's not going to be a lot of defensive players taken. So that's going to be tempting for them. Let's see if Byron Murphy gets to 16. I don't know that that's going to happen. The pick is in. Hang on. Hold on. I got to mute you. Now start talking.
Okay. He's got to mute because the pick's in, and the NFL Network doesn't allow us to have the pick go over the air. But the trades can go over the air. Hey, Goodell, what are you doing? We'll recap quickly if you don't know what's going on. But listen, you're following us along, so you're watching the draft. You don't need me to go through all the picks. I'm doing this like I'm still in radio. People are driving around their cars, and I'm like, hey, if you're just joining us, the Bears took Caleb Williams. I mean, people that are watching this right now are watching the TV.
I'll tell you what, it's an offensive player. I'll give you that much for the Chargers.
All right. What do you think how do you think Herbert thrives under him? Under Harbaugh?
Under who?
Yeah.
Harbaugh? He'll be good for a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a former quarterback. He's not you don't talk about him as being in the lab with the X's and O's and that kind of stuff. But he's a former quarterback, and he helps these guys prepare, and he helps these guys perform. So that should be that should be beneficial for Justin Herbert. I think Herbert needs a little bit of that. He's very intense, but I think he needs a little bit of that managing those emotions and using them for the positive. The thing I keep hearing about Herbert is every time he loses a game, it's like you can't talk to him for 4 days. Like he just goes in the tank and that's it. Nobody, he doesn't want to hear from anybody, doesn't want to talk to anybody, nothing like that. You got to be able to have a little bit of a shorter memory, perhaps. So let's see.
So you think that is that like that kind of a bad thing for him? You think for Herbert? Yeah,
potentially. I like the kid. I think I want my quarterback to care. Sometimes these quarterbacks seem a little bit nonchalant, drives fan bases crazy. You're not getting that with Justin Herbert. So when you got a competitor like Jim Harbaugh was, maybe he helps you channel that energy. Is maybe
that's the voice and the face, the beautiful face of Mike Garafolo. He's in the LA studios there, NFL Network. It's the war room. The picks are coming in, the trades are coming in, all of it. All right, everything's happening right where Garafolo is. My name's Puck. I think you probably know that by now. Our draft coverage is brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Big thanks to Georgetown for providing the coverage here all night long. We are Chargers. The pick is in. We're waiting on that one. Mike says it's an offensive player, and then the Giants will be on the clock. What's the deal? And I know there's many people watching this right now, Husky fans, and listen, Seahawks fans, because Seahawks fans want him. What are we hearing? What are we hearing about Troy Fautanu and his knee? Is it as bad? Like, is it bad?
I mean, I've heard a little bit of both. You always hear that when it comes to these medicals. Same with Latu from UCLA. You're hearing that a bunch of teams failed him, and a bunch of teams are actually okay with it. So I think you got a little bit of that both ways, and I think you're going to get some teams that trust their medical staff when they give them the evaluation and tell them this is something that can be managed. So I'm expecting to hear his name relatively early tonight. I think the Eagles were at his pro day. Jeff Staton was there, and the Eagles have been talked about behind the scenes as a team that could trade up and potentially take an offensive lineman. So perhaps he's the guy that they're aiming to get up to get somewhere in the teens.
Like
if they come up from
but do guys do this stuff at this time of year? I mean, would teams float out a rumor about a guy's health in order to get him to drop?
Not teams. It's and I hear that all the time. They're trying to devalue him. It's usually you hear it from the agents or the draft types and not the actual people who are making the picks and involved in the process. I can't remember the last time somebody told me something and I was like, oh boy, they're really poisoning the well on this one. I know how it looks from the outside when we put out that kind of stuff. That's why sometimes either you don't put it out or you got to have it incredibly well sourced. By the way, Joe Alt to the Chargers at number 5. That's been announced here. That is a good selection. A lot of people liked Joe Alt. I thought Latham was going to wind up being the guy for the Chargers. A lot of talk there, but clearly they felt like offensive tackle was a need for them. Jim Harbaugh in the draft room, hugging the Spanos family. Everybody very excited about that one. So that's a good pick for the Chargers there to help out Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
With Rashawn Slater as well.
So the Giants now will be on the clock. Joe Alt, the offensive tackle, Notre Dame. He's the first lineman off the board. We've gone all offense. Williams, Daniels, May, the first 3 picks, of course, quarterbacks, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. and now Joe Alt.
Not a surprise. The record for most offensive players in the first round, 19.
Really? 19? I'm going to write that little nugget down, huh? How about that? 19 guys.
19.
Who is that? Yeah. Who do you think the first defensive guy is?
Great question. If it's 8, I'm saying Dallas Turner or Latu. Probably I'd lean Turner for the Falcons. But the Falcons could be open for business to trade back. And if that happens, I believe it would be for a team looking to get up ahead of the Bears for Rome Odunze.
No. He's not my guy. He's not my guy.
I know.
In the area.
The collective you watching your boy. Joe Shane is on the phone. Speaking to someone, they know what they're doing in the Giants.
Yeah, we need a trade because this is the time you don't have to mute it. Oh, come on. We need a trade so we can break a trade on this damn thing. It's happening. Oh, you have to mute it again. That's right. So, Joe Alt, again, the Seahawks should be right around 7 o'clock. Again, in about 10, 15 minutes, we'll head to the VMAC, and we'll hear from Bob Condotta, Tim Booth, and Curtis Crabtree. So, the Giants pick is in. The Titans are at number 7. So we'll wait for that one. Okay, so if we get to 8, there have been some mocks, Mike, and some people have talked about that could be a spot. Could that be a spot for Penix, or that way too high? Number at 8. At 8, could 8 be a spot for Penix? Oh, I lost you. Uh-oh. We lost Mike Garafolo there for a second. He'll have to reconnect. What did you do? I don't know what he did. I think he lost connection. Mike, whenever you get back, we'll put you back on. Again, the pick is in here for the New York Giants. We're waiting to see who that pick will be. Pick number 6 there in the draft. I hope when he gets back on, we can tell everyone why he just dropped off. That's going to be the funny story here in a second. Mike Garafolo will be back with us here momentarily here on Puck's Draft Party. Big thanks to Georgetown Brewery providing you this draft coverage here. Eventually, we will head over to the VMAC. We will hear from Curtis Crabtree, also Bob Condotta, and Tim Booth, as they will break down what's happening there at the VMAC. He had to take a call. I will say this. He had to take a call from a GM. So I'm going to tell him, when you are done, hop back in. But he took a call from someone who is a GM there for the, I almost said the team. And we'll get Mike back on. Again, no surprises so far here in the beginnings of the draft. It's Puck. Our coverage brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Chat line is open here. I sent out a link. It's up in the bio. If you're watching it right now, up in the bio, go to Twitter on X there, or Twitter X at Puck 2040. And up there is a link there where you can get into the chat, and you can also ask questions. We can actually put you up there. We can put your video up there, and you can ask questions away. All right. You had to take a call. Can you say who it was or no? No, you probably can't.
No.
Do I know anything? Is there anything good?
It was a general manager asking me.
You already texted me who it was. Big thanks to Georgetown Brewery. Yeah.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I did. I'm sorry. I did text you. Yeah.
Is he watching the show?
He was asking me. Not our show. Clearly. He goes, "What are you doing right now?"
You're on a show.
I'm on a stream. He was asking me if I am surprised that there's been no movement, no trades so far. And I said, yes, I am very surprised.
These guys, let me just take us inside the world. Okay, so you get a call from a general manager of an NFL team while we're doing this live show here on YouTube, pucksports.com, everywhere. Okay, so you get this call. This guy's watching the draft. He's picking later. And he's asking you, like, hey, what are you hearing? Are you surprised? Trying to fish out information? I love this stuff. I love all this happening in real time.
Yeah, but I don't think this guy was interested in trading up. If he was, he'd be on the phone with teams right now, So that's why he just was curious. He just wanted to talk, He's kind of bored waiting for his pick coming up later. I thought he does have a pick coming up later.
That's so good.
But I would say, I thought he was calling me for like, hey, what are you hearing? But he was more like, hey, what I don't understand. Why aren't teams trading? I said, yeah, I thought there was going to be movement.
Are you going to get a sense from this GM that maybe they'll stay put or they want to move down? All right, Malik Neighbors was taken number 6 overall by the Giants. So we got 2 wide receivers, Harrison 4 to Arizona, Malik Neighbors to 6.
I thought the Giants were going quarterback. Now listen, they could still trade into the first round and come back and do some stuff here.
You thought they were going to go quarterback there at 6?
I thought they were going quarterback there. I did. Yep.
Like McCarthy?
Yep. I thought they were going to go McCarthy. I did. Yep.
Why am I not sold on him?
I don't know. Because he wasn't asked to do a lot. That's been the big thing with him. It's like it's tough to kind of translate what he's going to do at the NFL level from what he did in college because he wasn't asked to do a whole lot, and a whole lot of people say, what if he was in Washington's offense? Would his numbers have been like Penix?
But do you buy that, though? If he was that good, why wouldn't they put him in? I mean, they had a game where they ran it like 37 times in a row.
Yeah, no, I know. But that was kind of their mentality. It worked for them. They won the national championship. You can't argue with it. But that's why NFL scouts have to kind of parse through, hey, here's what we do up here. Now, by the same token, the coaches love the pick is in. What number are we?
So you got to mute yourself again. All right.
1 second.
So,
I'll be right with you.
Again, Mike's got to mute himself every time because they announce the pick over the speakers that are in the room, and those can't come over our broadcast here before it goes out there on the stage. Again, Titans are at 7. That pick is in. Then it will be the Falcons, and then quickly for those, the Bears will be back up at 9.
7 for 7.
It's unbelievable.
7 for 7.
I don't know. I don't know what you just did on the broadcast. What did you do? I don't know what that was. Why did the balloons? Why did the balloons come up on the stream?
I don't know. Maybe they're very happy with 7 offensive players.
Okay, 8 here for the Falcons. Would this be too high for? Have you heard? I mean, there's been some people said, "Oh, maybe Penix would be a fit there."
Yeah, I just don't understand it though. They've got so many other needs, particularly edge rusher. What could they possibly be thinking with regard to giving that money to Kirk Cousins?
Never mind. I'm blanking. I'm blanking. I'm thinking of a different team. I forgot they had Kirk Cousins. My bad.
Yes.
My bad.
No. But no. But the quarterback is in play here. Now, there's been some chatter that some teams are going to come storming up here to number 8 if this is indeed the case. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I did just get a text that said the Falcons are trying to trade out. I don't know that to be.
Let's get a trade here. Yeah, so Nick wants to know in the chat room if anyone's going to be Matt.
Oh, you know what? This person has somebody in the Falcons draft room that is telling me that. That's why he's okay. So yeah, sounds like Falcons are having a conversation to trade.
Okay, so Nick wants to know this. Hey Nick, I'm gonna ask your question to Garafolo. Would anyone be mad if who the Seahawks want at quarterback, offensive line, or defensive line isn't there, and Bowers is? Brock Bowers is there. Would you be mad at it? I wouldn't be mad at it. You got the best tight end, a freak of an athlete, there at number 16. My God, I mean, he's not going to last there, is he? There's no way.
No, there's a way. There's a way. All this chatter today, like you got a storm to get up into the top 10 for Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily see that was good. The Jets. I don't believe he's going to the Jets at 10. I know a lot of people have connected him there, so. He could potentially get himself into the teams, especially now somebody's going to wind up taking J.J. McCarthy, whether it's the Falcons at 11 or the the Vikings at 11. Something could happen to allow him to trickle down there. Does he get all the way to 16? I don't know. And the Seahawks don't usually trade up; they like to trade the other way. So who knows? Is it me making the screen? The screen keeps flashing. Are you seeing that or no?
No, not yet.
I don't know if it's my hand signals. I feel like my hand signals are dictating everything.
No, you are well because you're an East Coaster and you're Italian and you're very handsy.
Yeah, even when I'm on the West Coast.
All right, God, if I'm going to tell you right now, and I know we'll of course they have the best draft because they have the number 1 pick. Okay, so the Titans pick is in. Now the Falcons are on the clock. If the Titans or Falcons they don't take Rome Odunze and the Bears get him at 9, my God, what a draft did they have? Those two. First of all, Rome Odunze is just a freak. I mean, I know Neighbors is good, and obviously so is Harrison, but there's just nothing that Rome Odunze cannot do at the wide receiver spot. Just absolutely nothing. It's great. It's awesome.
We're good.
It'd be a great pick if the Bears were able to get him.
Yeah. Now I've heard that their approach here is going to be if Rome Odunze is there, that'll be the guy that they wind up taking. If not, they'll go defense. So let's look toward that and the potential for that to happen. The Tennessee Titans, I'll tell you now, forget it. They're counting down the commissioner. He's coming up. J.C. Latham. The offensive tackle is going to the Titans.
How is a person? Can you just answer this? How can someone that big, be that athletic and that mobile? How is that humanly possible?
I don't know, man. There's some of these guys, and that's why, and that's what gets you into the top 10 as an offensive tackle is that size, and that bend and that mobility and all that stuff. So yeah, he's got it all. Joe Alt as well. Both of these guys are not surprised that both went in the top 10. And that's the other thing. I think the record for offensive linemen in the first round is like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I think, guys, we may beat that today too. So this is a good offensive lineman class. We had Les Snead, the Rams general manager, in here today. We had him on set, and he said sometimes watching offensive linemen is like watching paint dry. He goes, "This was an exciting
Okay,
class.
do you want me to let you go here for a little bit, and I'll talk to those guys in the VMAC, and then I'll get you back on? You want me to do that? Okay, all right.
Sure.
I'll get you back
I'm
here in a
for
little
you,
bit.
brother.
There's Mike Garafolo. We'll cut him loose from Los Angeles. He's inside that war room that's going on right now. Let's head over to the VMAC. Let's see if we can get them all on. Okay, we've got Tim Booth is on. Bob Condotta should be on, and Curtis Crabtree should be on. And I think we still see Garafolo up there for some reason, and I'm not really sure why. Gentlemen, how are? Oh, why? Someone's got to mute themselves if they can. There we go. Oh, someone's got to mute themselves. Hopefully, okay. Tim, how are you, sir? What's new over there? Hopefully, okay. Tim, how are you, sir? What's new over there? Good. Okay, does somebody's got their screen up? Hey, first-time caller, long-time listener, can you turn down your headphones? Hey, first-time caller, long-time listener, can you turn down your headphones? Is it going to be Condotta? Is Condotta the one that's got his? I guarantee. Is it going to be Condotta? Is Condotta the one that's got his? Curtis Crabtree is over there as well. Maybe we can mute Curtis. Curtis Crabtree is over there as well. Hey, Tim, maybe for you, mute Curtis. Tim, let me just start with you. You're the only one. I think your mic works here for a quick second. Tim, what's the buzz over there at the VMAC?
Well, dinner was very good. It was tomahawk steak and chicken, a little bit of asparagus, some noodles, baked potato. High quality dinner here tonight. That's the buzz so far, because God knows what this team is going to do when they finally get around to having the 16th selection and what the board looks like at that point, and kind of how far are they going to trade back.
Okay, do you think they're going to keep that pick, or are they going to trade it?
Well, if they had a second rounder, I would be much more inclined to think that they're going to keep the pick. But the fact that they don't leads me to think that this is a great opportunity for them to try and move back, especially if teams don't jump up ahead of them to get one of the quarterbacks. And if McCarthy is still there, if Penix is still there, and they opt that that's not the route they want to go, this would seem to be a great chance for them to move back and maybe pick up a second rounder, which in the grand scheme of things is probably what they need at this point. It was they have enough holes and they don't have a ton of picks, so this would seem to be a great opportunity.
Bob, how was Bob Condotta? How was dinner? I can see half your face, so everything good?
Okay, yeah,
it's working good.
Working?
You're great. You're great. Okay. What do you think that they'll do in the draft, Bob? You've been covering the team for a very long time. Do you think they ultimately stay there, or do they end up trading down that pick?
I mean, if I had to bet, I'd bet on them trading down, just because I think as Tim illuminated very well there. I mean, it makes sense for them to want to try to do it. Going from 16 to 81 without a pick that's a long way to go without adding any players in a year when I think the first couple rounds is where the heart of the draft is. And so I think they're, that second and third round, I think is pretty good. I think there's some drop off there later. So I think if you can add a second, a couple of second round picks or something like that for your first round pick, I think that makes sense.
The second that Garafolo went off, and Garafolo's inside the NFL Network studios, and he can announce the trades. We cut out the J.C. Latham has been taken by the Titans at number 7. The Falcons it's being reported the Falcons are going to draft Michael Penix Jr.
Wow.
How surprised are you by that one there, Bob? How surprised are you by that one there, Bob?
I mean, I'm not stunned because of how quarterbacks are needed. I don't know what's going on there. Or needed. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. I'm getting an echo or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Atlanta's an interesting one because of that. Because of their situation.
Atlanta's an interesting one because of
it's Atlanta, right?
Their situation.
Yeah, because of their situation, obviously they have Kirk Cousins. So
because of their situation, obviously they have Kirk Cousins.
Seem like a team that necessarily wanted a quarterback, but maybe they're just trying to. It's also a good
maybe
team
they're
to bring
just
a guy
trying
in.
to.
All right.
It's also a good team.
Yeah, hold on, Bob. I'm gonna. All right. Hey, one of you guys have got your mics on. You got to turn it down. One of you guys have coming over the broadcast. All right. So the trade is that Michael Penix has been traded or picked by the Atlanta Falcons there at number 8. Curtis, we haven't got you yet. Hopefully we're not getting feedback with you, but we are. Hopefully what do you think they're going to do there at number 16? What do you think they're going to do there at number 16? We don't hear Curtis. This has gone about as well as I possibly could have imagined. This has gone about as well as I possibly could have imagined. I'm gonna remove Curtis, and I'm going to remove Bob Condotta. We'll do this on the fly. Hey, Bob, I'm going to cut you loose. I'm just going to talk to Tim Booth here for a quick second. We'll get you guys back on individually. Tim, unmute yourself if you can there, Tim Booth. Tim Booth, we'll chat here with Tim, who is at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. How surprised are you that the Falcons were able – I mean, listen, they've already got Kirk Cousins. I just asked, Mike Garafolo this, would they take a quarterback? And he said, well, yeah, maybe they would. Surprised that they ended up taking him?
Yeah, I absolutely am. Because why do you make that investment this offseason in Kirk Cousins if you're not going to see that out? And, I mean, to his credit, Michael Penix had an exceptional career here at Washington, but he's also on the older side. He's 24 already. It's not like you're getting a 21-year-old who's coming in and has developmental time. You're getting a guy who, is pretty seasoned at this point. Good for Mike being a top 10 pick. I think it's pretty stunning considering where he was when he got here, that he developed into being at this point. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised that Atlanta would make this kind of move at this point. When you went out.
Tim Booth was with us, Associated Press. We'll try to get Curtis on later, and maybe Bob Condotta on later separately. Maybe I bit off a little bit too much. I could chew having them all on there, and we'll take people behind the scenes. We did a run through. What was it the other day? And Bob was having issues. So whatever. It's it's live TV. What we're doing right now here, Booth. We got to react on the fly. You're doing great. You've adjusted perfectly. You know what's going to happen here, Booth? I'm going to tell you right now. Of the trade all the gift cards I have for you, I'm going to bring out tomorrow. You're going to get more. You're going to get. But the Falcons.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Is this for all the days that I filled in for you when you were at your old taken care of someone else,
is that
not
part
me.
Of
the reason why?
When anybody comes in and sits with me, I have and next to me, I always take care of them. All right. Cousins signed a $180 million contract with Atlanta. $50 million was $100 million of it was guaranteed. Like, this is amazing that they are then with a top 10 pick are going to take another quarterback, because I think Michael Penix, you mentioned it, his age, he's 24. Like, I think he's kind of plug and play right now.
A little bit, yeah. You would think that whoever was drafting him had to be thinking,
wow,
a year sitting behind whoever it was, and then they were going to go in and in year 2 it would be Michael Penix's job. The question is how easy is it to get out from under Cousins' contract? And obviously, that's not something that we would know here in Seattle of the structure of his deal. But you're making a choice here with the idea that Kirk Cousins is your quarterback for 1 or 2 years, period. And at that point, you have to cut him loose or trade him or do something with that contract. Otherwise, you've just wasted a top 10 pick. Not that Michael Penix is quote unquote a waste, but you've just wasted a top 10 pick on a guy who is going to be sitting behind a veteran for how long? Maybe Kirk Cousins has made it known to them that he only wants to play X amount more years. Maybe he's saying, hey, I'm coming here. I want to play 2 more years, and then I want to go be dad, or I want to go be, whatever. But it's without having some background knowledge of what your future holds or how easy it is to get out from under that.
Okay, do you want me to let Curtis
really
back
is a
into
stunning
the
pick
into
by
the chat?
Falcons. We can try. That's fine by me.
Curtis, how are you?
The more
How's
central
your
guys on
volume?
the chat, the better.
Now we sound good.
Now, right?
Can I just tell you how warm it makes my heart that there was audio and video issues with Bob? I desperately wanted something to kind of go wrong on this, just because we're doing it for the first time and it's fun and you break eggs and all that kind of stuff. And right when we got Condotta on, I'm seeing half of his face, and then him being rattled about getting the feedback. Perfect. It couldn't have got any better. Curtis, Tim just answered this, but I'll ask you. Give me the thinking that you think of Atlanta right now. Okay.
I think I'd be excited for him. Like to have. I mean, look, we've seen what that guy can do. When he gets time to throw the football, he's pretty good at it. Like if they're able to find a way to protect him and get him to shine, like I think there's a pretty high ceiling for Michael Penix Jr. And I mean, if you want me to make the case against him, I can. The injury history, the fact he throws 3/4 arm slot, that when you pressured him in the couple games this year where he got pressured, the numbers dropped a bit. If you want to poke holes, you can poke holes.
Sure.
But I think that dude's a gamer, and I think you're going to get a good quarterback in the NFL. We've seen how he is as a leader for the Huskies. I think they're going to be quite happy with him for the long term.
Well, sure, but I guess what I was getting at, if you're a Falcons fan, you're like, we just dropped all this guaranteed money on a quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Why are we drafting a guy now 8 who's, like Tim, you said, is 24 years of age? Like this guy, I mean, Michael Penix can walk right in and play, I would think. What is he going to sit for 2 years under Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation to walk into, too. Like, maybe it speaks to how it didn't stop the Chiefs from, Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith aren't all that dissimilar, right?
Point.
Like, where they were in their careers, like when the Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes and sat on him for a year or so. It might be kind of a similar situation there for him to play, get up to speed with those areas he needs to work on in his game, and then take the reins there. And look, he's got talent around him with Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts, and there's options on that offense that should be able to allow
you know what?
him to
And
shine.
then you bring up the Chiefs thing. That's a fair point. I mean, Alex Smith and then that Mahomes comp is a great one. So Penix, if you're watching and following this along, so Penix goes number 8 to the Falcons. Number 9, Roma Dunze goes to the Bears. God, Bears. I mean, Jesus. Caleb Williams, and now you can make an argument the best wide receiver in the draft, but whatever. That's pretty cool, Tim. Back to back. I mean, it's not cool for me as a Coug fan, but back to back Husky fan. Huskies go 8 and 9. They were so sensational this year in college football. The two most exciting players, really. In the conference, and they go back to back. That's a very cool moment for that school, that university.
Yeah, and with the way that Jed Fish is really sort of promoting the NFL aspect to the program, this is just one more thing that they can use as sort of promotional marketing for playing up that angle that they're taking with what Washington football is. I mean, they're really taking this view of it's not a college program. It's a program that gets you ready for the NFL. And when you have number 8 and number 9 go back to back, in the draft, that's a huge selling point that you can build around and build off of. And to your point, Caleb Williams is walking into a pretty terrific situation as long as he has an offensive line to block for him. When you have the kind of additions that they made this offseason, and then you throw in now maybe the best receiver in the draft, or the best physical receiver in the draft, the best guy that's going to go and get you a catch, maybe in the draft. That's
and now if you're the Vikings right now, I mean, you got to be. I wonder if they're a little shell shocked a little bit, Curtis, because they're like, hey, they maybe thought if they wanted to go quarterback, they could have got Penix there at number 10. Now he's gone because the Falcons obviously have selected him there. Then you got the Jets. Maybe the Broncos thought about, hey, Penix could fall to us. The Raiders, maybe the same thing. So the Seahawks are what are we, 6 picks away before the Seahawks make their selection. let's just rehash this one more time. If Curtis, if they stay at 16, who do you think they've got their eye on? A couple of players that they would have their eye on at that selection.
I can't see them doing anything other than somebody along the line of scrimmage. Either side of the ball, if that's where it gets to. So you're talking Fautanu, you're talking Laiatu Latu, you're talking Byron Murphy, guys of that ilk. I just, with the needs that they have on their roster and the fact that there has not been defensive guys really taken so far. Like, you're going to get your pick of, some of the top defensive players in the class when your time on the clock comes around to pick. I think that's what would make sense to me, let alone the fact that you could certainly use the help of a stalwart guard for a long time for the future too. So that could easily make sense as well.
And here's the thing, like, your options to trade back might be really limited at this point because JJ McCarthy is about to go off the board to Minnesota. And that's 5 quarterbacks gone in the first 10 picks. The only other guy who's out there who's universally regarded as being, a top 35 sort of pick is Bo Nix. Is there going to be, the Broncos could grab him at 12 and just be, perfectly happy and move forward. There's your trade back options might have dwindled a little bit. And they might be having to think at this point, hey, we're going to have to make that pick. And then to Curtis's point, it's got to be, to me, it's got to be either an interior offensive lineman or a defensive.
And I'm with you. I'm with both of you here. What if it comes down? Let's say they have the option, Fautanu or Murphy. Does the Fautanu thing scare people a little bit because of the injury note that came out this week with the knee, Tim?
I think a little bit, but then Murphy's got his own issues. He had the off-field issues after the season.
Was that sweat? Was that sweat or Murphy?
Down in Austin. So,
it's all
I'm sorry, it was sweat. I apologize. I got that backwards. So, obviously any injury concerns are going to be a worry. I think part of it too is you look at what guards got this last offseason and free agency. Maybe you feel like you do need to, shore up the interior offensive line now with a young and affordable option. And then, next year in free agency, you go and look at the defensive tackle market then. So I lean a little bit more toward the offensive line and kind of getting that solved, because how often are we complaining and talking about the offensive line being a problem here? So I would lean that way a little bit more than the defensive line. But clearly you're going to have a little hesitation about the medicals that came out, and they're going to have to lean on the exams that they did when they met with
Curtis.
him
the thought has been all along that many people felt that he being John Schneider will want to trade down to acquire another pick in the second round. Now, he doesn't necessarily have to just trade the first round pick. I mean, he can trade other picks. He can trade future picks. He can trade a player or whatever to acquire that second round pick. How necessary or paramount do you think it is that they end up acquiring a pick there in the second round this year?
I'm sure they would like to have it, but as Tim mentioned there, like, who knows if the dance partner is there for them to move down to get it that way. So maybe you have, there's nothing that says they can't trade a player from their roster either to get a backfilled a draft pick in some way too, if they decide that under the new coach and the direction that they're heading, that a guy no longer makes sense anymore. They could certainly do a move like that to try to find a second round pick for the future too. So I think I'm probably as uncertain about what they're going to do with this pick as I've been in a few of their drafts, because I think they could go many different ways with it depending on where things kind of come down. I don't think there's an obvious choice for them to make.
And because I look at it, it's not the first one to say. I look at it as, hey, Leonard Williams was their second round pick. So if they don't end up getting a guy, they already got a guy in the second round. So I'm kind of good with it, but I also understand that, he looks at this draft and goes, well, there's so many more holes to fill, so we need to start filling them as fast as we can. So I wonder how much. Yeah, go ahead.
And one of the things I was going to say, one of the things Bob said, which is really true, before Bob's half face left the show. There's a lot of talent in the first, 45 to 50 picks of this draft. I mean, there's a lot of first round grades that go into the second round. I think there's a real feel that you can address some things immediately if you can somehow get back into the second round. Everything else, yeah, you're going to be looking for, guys that might pop up and be contributors and whatever. But I think there's true impact guys in that first 50 picks this year. And so I feel like there was a
question in our chat from Nick. I'll just throw it at you. And I agree with both of you on offensive lineman or defensive lineman. What about if Brock Bowers is there at 16? Tim? Yes? Okay.
Yes. 100%. Yes. I know he's not a blocking tight end, and I know that's probably more the route they need to go because you still have Noah Fant on the roster, but you did sign Pharaoh Brown in free agency, and the kind of skill set that Brock Bowers has is very similar to guys who are dominating the league right now from that position. So if he's there at 16, and I don't think he'll be there
Curtis,
at 16, but if he is, 100% go get him.
So to me, the scenario on that one would be looking at the two receiver contracts we've seen the last couple of days come down, knowing that DK Metcalf is probably in line for a deal sometime here in the near future for an extension, maybe after this upcoming season, and thinking, well, if we could replace DK with Brock Bowers and then move him and recoup assets that way is kind of our plan to move into the future. That could be one way you go about it. Then, where does Tyler Lockett fit in that? There's more to it than that, but that would be the way you get to.
And there's this. I mean, there's been this idea floated out. Hey, would you trade DK Metcalf? I mean, right, Curtis? Financially, that would not make sense for these guys this year. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The receivers are
JJ McCarthy, a top 10, right? He goes number 10 there to the Minnesota Vikings. So what does that make it? 1, 2, what is that? 5 quarterbacks? Jesus.
5 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Which way do you think the league's going?
First 10.
I don't know about you.
It's going a little offensive.
You guys watch college football a lot, and I don't get the McCarthy thing. Now watch. You watch McCarthy's going to be great. He's going to be Joe Burrow. But I don't know, man.
I think McCarthy's going to be really good. I think Kevin O'Connell being in that system, he's like the next version of Kirk Cousins. Like you watched Kirk Cousins at Michigan State, and I was like, I mean, yeah, he was a 3rd rounder. He wasn't the number 10 pick overall, but it's like you're replacing Kirk Cousins with a younger version of him in a lot of ways. That's what it feels like to me. So I think I think he ended up in a good system, in a good place. I think he'll be okay. Like he's not. I don't know if he's going to be Joe Burrow.
So the Vikings sent a 4th and 5th round pick to the Jets. They're getting a 6th round back to move up a spot, and they land JJ McCarthy. The Jets on the clock. That pick is in. Then it's the Donkeys. Then the Raiders at 13, Saints at 14, Colts at 15, and then it'll be your Seahawks. A few more moments with you guys, and I'll cut you loose. Again, hey, remind me there, Booth, what was for dinner? This is what I miss about not being over there. What was for dinner tonight? Oh,
let's see. We had they had steak. I think they had some nice tomahawk steaks. They had some chicken that was in a white wine sauce. Baked potato, rather large baked potato. Asparagus. Me personally, I have never had a better Caesar salad than the Caesar salad that they have here at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center.
Why can't we call it the VMAC anymore? Why can't you? So, can I call it the VMAC? I'm not.
I don't know. You can do whatever you want, but it's
the draft party is brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Big thanks to Manny and Roger and Crystal and Matt and everybody there at the. Did you know it's the largest independent brewery in Washington State? Georgetown Brewery, darn tasty beer. Well, I got. Hold on, I got a cooler down here because I can't really move.
Up for that.
So there's my cooler. So I got all the beer in there, Curtis. I got a couple. I got a Rogers in there. You want a Rogers? Yeah, I'm gonna go a little light here, Pilsner a little bit. Problem is, eventually I'm gonna have to pee.
That looks like your golf course survival kit. Is what that looks like.
Let's.
I should maybe just let you guys talk for a quick second.
I don't think Jason Puckett should take.
You guys want to do that real quick? You know what my son gave me before he left?
Don't you have a empty Gatorade bottle or something you can use?
Gave me a bucket. He said, "Why don't you just go pee in the bucket?" I go, like, while I'm talking to somebody? He's like, "Yeah, that'd be kind of awesome." Well, yeah. Well, you know what?
Just
you know how many
mute yourself.
people want me to just mute myself, Tim?
Just mute yourself. You're fine.
Tim, first Central Washington player to come off the books. Who is it? Yeah. Who's going to get drafted?
This season?
Okay.
This year, none. It's gonna be none this year.
Okay.
Just like it was last year, just like it was.
They've got so
year.
many holes. Curtis? The biggest need for them is what? There's a lot of holes on the team. They're set in a lot of places, but what are some of the biggest needs, for this squad this year as you look at it right now? They're currently constructed.
I think it's that top flight guard to add competition to the mix. I think it's hypothetically a pass rusher to come in and push Darrell Taylor for a roster spot. Linebacker depth they could really use too. I think those are the areas I would tend to focus on first and foremost. I don't, flip it around. What positions aren't super need heavy? Cornerback, running back. They don't need those. Probably don't need a safety given the depth that they have there and the moves they made this offseason. They've got enough bodies on the defensive tackle side. It's a matter of if you want to add to that group and first round talent, if you can add that and add to the mix that way, I think that's where it makes sense. I think those are kind of the places where I think they don't need guys as much, but I think it's never going to hurt this team to add on the offense. On the line
I really do
on
need to
either
go to the
side of
bathroom.
ball, given
Tim,
where they're at
you
right now.
answer that. You guys host this show for 1 minute as I go to the bathroom. 1 minute. They're like,
dude,
they're 12th pick.
Go
1 minute, I'm going to cut you loose.
The 12th
okay?
pick is already in.
Hold on. Tim, answer that and then ask Curtis a question. I got to go to the bathroom. This is why we need commercials on Puck's Draft Watch Party. And Georgetown's going to provide commercials
Wait, what was
next
I
season.
supposed to answer? I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. What exactly were you
I don't know.
answering,
Let's
Curtis?
just talk about stuff. Apparently, Bo Nix is going here to Denver. So there's another quarterback off the board in the first 12 picks. So
6 in the
yeah,
first
that's
12
pretty
picks.
wild.
I can't believe that Denver couldn't figure out a way to trade back and not and pick up something and then take Bo Nix somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah, possibly.
Because there had to be with all the defensive players that are still on the board, you had to think that someone was going to be willing to trade up and get a Dallas Turner or a Latu or whoever.
What if they thought that thought the Raiders were going to take him right after them here? If that was something that they were worried about, that might be the reason it didn't make sense for them necessarily.
I didn't pee.
Jesus,
did
you
on
wash
myself,
your hands?
Okay.
Did you wash your hands?
Pretty much. All
Good
right.
God,
So
are
listen,
you
I'm going to
that
cut you loose.
unsanitary?
Picks in for Denver, and then you guys are on the clock. To Denver?
It's Bo Nix. It's another quarterback, Puck.
You know what? Hold on. I kind of like Bo Nix. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like Bo Nix.
If you want a new version of Russell Wilson, that's kind of what you just got.
I'm sure Denver would love to hear that.
Maybe not quite as mobile.
Okay.
Maybe not quite as mobile, but at least early in his career.
Okay.
That's how
Tim
Bo Nix comes
Booth,
across.
Curtis Crabtree. Anyway. Maybe I'll reach out to you guys a little bit later if you want to come back on. But you guys were fabulous. Thank you so much. Thanks for doing it. Tell Bob we missed him. I'd love to hear it. Find out what happened.
I think it was my computer that was part of it. I think when I switched headphones and switched the microphone setting, that's why you couldn't hear me the first time.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow. Come on by. All right, see you guys. There they are. Curtis Crabtree, Tim Booth, Associated Press, and, of course, Fox 13, Curtis Crabtree, there formerly of the old radio station KJR. Let's get Mike Garafolo here back with us from Los Angeles. You know what? I'm so mad. The second we cut out is, do you still see the picture of Curtis up there? Do you see Curtis's picture up there still? I don't know if you can see the video. He's okay. No, it's not up there.
No.
The second you and I leave, we get Penix, and we just talked about Penix. Are you surprised that he did go? You're not surprised by it, are you?
I'm not surprised. I thought it was going to be a trade back scenario for the Falcons. We talked about that on the air today. Hang on, let me tell this, guys. Yes.
It's unbelievable.
13 for 13 offensive players. Yeah. Who's 14?
14 are the Saints.
The Colts.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
Seahawks may take the first defensive player.
It's lining up perfectly for them, is it not?
Yeah, because the Saints are going to go offensive tackle, we're expecting. Indianapolis, we've been talking about a potential pass catcher. Vegas, I'm told. Well, I already told you that. I shouldn't have said it there. Vegas is offense. Wow.
Yep.
Seattle. So Seattle's what, 16, right?
Well, I mean, it's lining up for them. I mean, 5 quarterbacks now taken in the first 10 picks. McCarthy going 10th there to the Vikings. Vikings got to be happy about that, right? My God.
Well, we can. In 30 seconds to the commissioner. In 30 seconds, I can tell you it's going to be 6 of 12 picks are going to be quarterbacks.
Oh, we already know. I already know who it is because the Tim Booth and Curtis Crabtree already spilled it over there for some reason. It's Bo Nix going.
I know. So you've got 6 quarterbacks as a record. Already a record for most defensive or offensive players. You never had a top 10 without a defensive player. That 19 number we're talking about, we may get that by the time we get to 20. We may eclipse that for offensive players in the first round.
So look at here for Seattle right now. Bo Nix is going to go 12 to the Broncos. Then it's going to be the Raiders. Then it's the Saints at 14, Colts at 15, then Seahawks. Right now, they've got the number 1 edge rusher still on the board. That would be Dallas Turner. There are 2 corners there if they wanted to go that route. Leatu Latu, by the second best edge rusher, will be there. Brian Murphy, rated as the best defensive tackle, is still there. Fatanu, who is the third best offensive lineman, still around. I mean, my God, this is perfect for Seattle.
Yeah, if you didn't need a quarterback, this was the draft for you, man. This was incredible. Who is he staring at? What is happening here?
I don't know. You know what? I talked about this earlier with Rob Staton from Seahawks Draft Blog. I've lost a lot of respect for Eminem, and I'm just kind of done with it now. I mean, he went just too much. Like, stop, please.
Yeah.
Stop trying to pretend to make Goodell cool. Fatano is there. I mean, God, they've just whoever they want. What about Brock Bowers? You heard anything with Seattle and Brock Bowers?
He ain't gonna get there.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. What'd
you hear me?
Oh, he's not going to get there. Oh, okay.
He ain't going to get there.
All right.
Don't worry about that. That's not going to be a conversation. He's not going to get there. I can guarantee you that.
That was fun while it lasted. It was, you know what? Does everybody remember their favorite Brock Bowers could have been a Seahawk moment? I know I did. That's Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. He is, again, if you're wondering where Mike is at, he is inside the NFL Network studios in Los Angeles, behind the scenes. He's in the war room, essentially what is happening where he is at right now. All the picks are coming where he is at. He knows the picks. He knows the trades before anybody, anyone on TV. He's got to mute himself because they announced the picks, but we can announce the trades. And we just have had the one trade, right? That trade being the Minnesota one, right? Yeah, just
the one trade, yeah. Which is one spot, which I got to be curious who else the Jets were talking to. Denver, potentially? For J.J. McCarthy? I mean, Minnesota obviously felt like the Jets were talking to somebody to make that move up one spot. Which is pretty incredible that they moved the one spot, but didn't feel the
You're
need
probably
to
telling
move
me,
into
no,
the
I'm
top
not
10,
surprised. A little bit that all these quarterbacks went this fast and this early, or no?
Yeah. Oh, well, we talked about the possibility of.
Yes, I love the mute. This is my favorite part is the mute. When did we get past not having to mute?
Maybe tomorrow.
Oh yeah, a long time.
How long is the stream there? Somebody just texted that Sean Payton gave George Payton, the general manager, the cold shoulder. I didn't see that. Can we rewind that?
You think they're not on board?
We got 36 TVs on the wall.
Do you think he sees? I mean,
Oh, no, he gave him a little pat. I just saw the replay. He gave him a little pat. That's fine. That was not. I have shot down the reports. That
You think
Sean
he
Payton
sees
gave George
he
Payton,
sees a little Drew Brees and Bo
the
Nix?
cold shoulder. That's probably an unfair comparison, right? I just think he probably likes the way that he runs the operation. His completion percentage last year was 77%, something like that. Which you know, you can appreciate that if you had Drew Brees as your quarterback before. So I'm sure he's going to talk about his accuracy and his ability to process. Yeah, that's so the Raiders are coming up here with the 13th pick.
Oh, I love that you left it open.
It's going to be Brock Bowers.
Now we know Brock Bowers goes to the Raiders. Oh, I thought you left it open.
No, I didn't leave it open. They're announcing it right. It's just that's why
Doesn't matter. First place you heard here was right here on YouTube and pucksports.com that Brock Bowers was going to the Raiders. All right, I like it. You know who the quarterback is? America's quarterback for the Raiders. I'm going to put some money on it, MVP of the league. Come on.
I'm sure you'll get a great return on that. Yeah, that's.
I think so.
But he'll do well there. I mean, he'll do well. I like the Raiders. I would have liked to have seen if Penix had gotten there. I don't think they take him at 13. That was my impression. But they may have taken him a little bit later on if they had traded back or something like that. But they're not forcing it. Jaden Daniels was the guy if they could make it happen because of the relationship.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
This is not enough water. So it wasn't like we needed a quarterback as the Raiders were. You know, women are funny. How are you
just realizing they're funny?
Here.
They're an odd beast. They don't. But she's from.
She's in a full fleece blanket.
She's from Los Angeles, right?
Stadium says hello right here. I don't know. Frank, are you from here?
That's why. My sister lives there. She has her kids in parkas when it's 75. They're weird people. She doesn't let them. They don't go in the pool unless it's 87.
Yeah.
8 degrees outside. I'm like, no, 87 degrees outside.
Hold on, Philly.
Not the pool. But they do have the pool like at 90, like it's a hot tub or something. I mean, who needs that?
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I spilled.
I
come in here. I get
Mike spilled on himself inside the NFL Network studios. You would get a kick out of it when we tried to have all three of those guys on from the VMAC. Booth was good. Curtis was good. But our guy Bob Condotta, who you know very well, just couldn't quite figure out the audio. That doesn't surprise you. It does. It just doesn't. Well, who doesn't? He's a one of a kind.
Bob's great. I don't know.
That's true.
It's Seinfeld. How can anyone not like
Saints are on the Saints are on the clock right now. Hey, keep if you're watching you are watching on the stream. Keep sending on all those pictures what you're drinking. Big thanks to Nick. Nick just sent a picture of a Miller Lite. God, I do like a good Miller Lite. I really do. That's a tasty beer. It always is. You
like Miller Lite?
No, my favorite of a light beer of a Pilsner. Hold on. That would be Rogers from Georgetown Brewery, who brings you.
When I say the favorite, which is fine, that's great. Good. I'm sure it's delicious, but I'm saying of the lights, I mean, like the readily available anywhere you go. Lights.
Now you would maybe you've heard of this beer. I don't know if this classifies as a light beer, but I think of it as a light beer. Like if I want like a really light beer that you can just kind of crush all day long, Rainier. You know Rainier?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You've never heard of the beer Rainier?
The Mountain.
Okay. That's what I would go with.
No.
That's right.
Add it to the list of things we're going to do when I finally come out there.
Of course, light beer. Yeah, something like that. But I'm all Georgetown right now. Georgetown, I'm double fisting. I got a Johnny Utah, which is a fine pale ale, and then a Rogers Pilsner, a little lighter. There, Garafolo, a little lighter. We're halfway through the draft.
You're gonna have to answer so many texts from people who are
has
texting
the other
me right
GM
now,
has the GM who texted you earlier texted you back about what's going on. Can you text him right now and say what are you gonna do? Well, why? He bothered you during a live show. Bother him back.
I haven't bothered him.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah, I mean, come
He
on,
did. The
guy.
guts,
I mean,
the
stop
guts
it.
on that guy. Guts on.
God, it's great when it's just really is lining up perfectly for these guys right now defensively, because there still has not been a defensive player selected. What did you tell me? The record was 19 in a row or 19 total? Wow.
19 total. So we're at 13. We only need 7 more in the last 19 picks. So you could have 12 defensive players go the rest of the way and still set a record for offensive players.
Who is bothering you?
Nothing yet. I will text you. Some agent who's like, like, what, nothing yet? They haven't turned in the pick yet. When they will,
I love how annoyed
you.
It makes you.
God. Because I've had a bunch of this. So I had an Eagles fan, and I told him, I said, I think they're going offensive line. Yesterday, what did the Eagles do? I think offensive line. I don't know. It's the draft. They're at 22. Nobody knows. I think offensive line. Today, anything new?
Just the same thing. Just keeps round and round.
The same thing I told you yesterday. So I didn't answer, and he goes, "I'll take that as a no." Good. You should take that as a no.
Let me go. Let me go. As the Seahawks, we're going to get closer to the Seahawks in a second. Saints again on the clock, and then Colts, and then the Seahawks. Let me just go right back to Penix for a second, because when we left, we were just talking about Penix, and I was like, "Hey, would they go quarterback there?" And you're like, "Well, they got Kirk Cousins." I'm like, "Oh, duh, they have Cousins. They're not going to draft a quarterback." You did. No, but you said, "Hey, it's still a possibility they would do it." But if you're a Falcons fan and you spent all this money on a guy,
didn't think that.
How do you feel that you drafted a guy number 8 who's 24 years of age?
Yeah, that's right. You know what? I forgot about the age factor. So by the time he starts, he's going to be 26.
And you could have got his teammate at Washington, Odunze, that pick. You could have taken him to pair him up with all the other guys that you have.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna be hot. They're gonna be hot. Anybody who's taking a quarterback when you have an option, Giants fans are gonna be pissed
when they see these two guys play quarterback next to each other. I like Kirk Cousins. He's a good quarterback, but he does not have the arm that this dude does.
There we go. Pick is in.
Saints.
Gotta meet you. I'll be right back.
I'm going to predict
Saints at number 14.
I want to predict. I don't know. I'll go Dallas Turner. I don't know. I'm going to say we break up finally the offensive run, and somebody finally takes a bleeping defensive player. So the pick's in for the Saints. Colts are now on the clock. And then your Seattle Seahawks. I did not say it. It's not.
Did you say you thought it was going to be a defensive player? To the Saints? No, we knew the Saints were going to go offensive.
Can you just say it is? It's already on Twitter. Just say who it is. All right, I'll say it. Fuaga, the guy, the offensive lineman from Oregon State. We know him very well here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, he's a stud.
He's a stud. It's a great pick. It's a great pick.
Yeah, he's a road grader.
Why he lasted this long? I mean, he is just. He's nails. He's consistent. He's solid. You can use all those words. I mean, he is. And he's got that Polynesian.
Yeah.
I was joking with him at the Senior Bowl. I was calling him Oos, which means brother, right? Oos. So I pulled that out, and he was kind of like taken aback by that. 'Cause you got to earn Oos. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be calling people Oos. But he's got that Polynesian hardworking mindset that you see a lot of these guys in the NFL. Of all the picks
and it's a funny thing, right? It's like those are the guys, the bread and butter guys, those that make the draft and make the teams, the guys in the trenches that ultimately you look back and go, well, we won a Super Bowl, we won championships because of the guys up front. I mean, they're not sexy, right? They never are, so when you draft a lineman, you're like, oh, great. But he's a beast. He's an absolute beast there from Oregon State. So, well, I mean, everyone that I have wanted for them to draft is going to likely be there. Are you going to tell me Colts go offense here probably?
I think so, right? If the Colts are the first defensive team, I don't know. I mean, the run on there's that cluster of receivers early in the first round that we weren't expecting until later in the first round. There was talk they could potentially trade into the top 10. Oh baby, this is not a pick. This is not a tip. It's okay, so I'm not tipping a pick because it hasn't been announced yet.
Okay,
but I believe we've got our first.
Thinking we got the first defensive player. That is, I would assume that's going to be Turner, but shall see the edge rusher at the University of Alabama. He's available. Quentin Mitchell from Toledo's there. Arnold is there. I got a buddy who said his worst nightmare. Okay, his worst nightmare is if the Seahawks take a cornerback, and because Terry and Arnold has been like mocked to the Seahawks in a bunch of drafts, that he says that he'll drink an entire bottle of scotch if Terry and Arnold is the pick.
Yeah.
He because he doesn't want them to draft a defensive back.
Why?
He's over it. He wants somebody in the middle.
Okay. My expectation is that they take Byron Murphy. That's my expectation. Now the pick is not it.
I'm not celebrating.
Pick is not.
Okay, I'm just not.
No, don't celebrate. That's just that's what I was told. They are now showing clips from the Senior Bowl where Fuanga was absolutely dominant.
He's exactly what you want. So, you can speculate here where you think the Colts would want to go, and you think the Colts most likely feels like they'll go offense there, or do you think that? No, you said defense. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right.
No. Defense. Yeah. Someone did. They have not announced it here, but somebody did text me the player that they are taking, who's going to be a defensive player. So the streak is over. What number is that? 15?
Do you know what the record
in a
was?
Row to start at 15.
By any chance? Like in terms of a row? Yeah, because that has to be.
I have no idea. I'll have to check on that.
I mean, just kind of that tells you kind of where the game has gone, right? Like where the game. I mean, the games have been transitioning to offense for a very long time, but I mean, it just feels like more so than ever. It's like offense. I mean, you just look at all the guys that have been selected. So the Colts are.
Yeah, but I mean, you usually see more of a balance when it comes to the draft. I mean, this is just incredible. Well, do we know what the record was for most offensive players to start a first round?
Oh, really? Just like 8 in a row, 9 in a row?
Oh,
I mean,
to start the draft? We will get a double confirm on that, but
no, you're in. You're in.
Am I going to be here for the Seahawks?
You're good for, unless I want to try and bring Condotta on a little bit later. It's just me and you riding.
Was it? Silent Movie was that movie? That won the best picture,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we're good.
10 years ago or so. Yeah. First time in NFL history. What? So the record was 6.
Wow.
7 straight anywhere is the most in the first round.
Incredible.
7 straight on either side of the ball is a record.
That's amazing.
Period. Let alone to have 14 in a row.
And the Seahawks hired a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
I know.
It's okay.
I know. Do you see some of the before they picked? Do you see any more of the blowback of Picturegate from some of the veterans, Chancellor, Sherman, and those guys? They got all mad. They got mad from the pictures being taken down.
Sorry.
At McDonald. Yeah, they didn't like it. Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh, yeah. I missed that. I don't blame them.
Yeah, you get the if the fans don't care, then that's fine. If the fans don't care, that's because here's the deal: fans never have seen it, so they don't care. But because it's in a place that they can't go. But for the players, yeah, I mean,
right. Which makes it, which by the way probably makes it sting a little bit more for them. I mean, that is a sacred space.
It was a tough move.
So
there on that part. All right, so the Colts.
Hold on. They're showing Dallas Turner, who's yet to be picked, eating a bag of Doritos in what looks like a Skittles lime green suit.
It's gonna be a tough move on his part.
Tropical Skittles, is that what we would call that? And who's that? Who are we showing there? Oh, that's Fatano.
Is he going number? He's not. Wait a minute. He's
not your offensive tackle.
Okay.
No. They're just showing him at his party.
Well,
just
I
waiting
love
to be called,
Fatano.
sitting next to.
He's
what
a
I assume is
stud.
his
They can
grandmother.
move him inside. Did you ever check in? I'm just curious. You got a lot of things going on. Have you ever heard anything on Abe Lucas's knee, or whether like how bad it is at all, or it's?
Oh wow, that is incredible that you just asked me that, and I can't tell you why. Well, I can't tell you why. His agent is texting
Is it okay?
me, not about that, about something different. So what do we need to know about his knee?
Just ask the agent for Abe Lucas if his knee is okay. I need to know, because I mean, if they're drafting Fatano here, and he can play right tackle, but I'd like to move him inside. I mean, everyone wants to move him inside, but they might be drafting him also for a, stop. I didn't hear it because I'm rambling.
Oh, I forgot to mute you. Did you hear that?
Jesus.
Oh. See.
So with the agent, the agent comes back. Yeah.
I just texted him.
I want to know.
Just texted him.
Because that could be bad news. I mean, he was a good pick for him. And he's been a solid player.
Is this breaking news?
Yeah. Well.
Did we know he had surgery?
Like he had surgery recently? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, he said this offseason. Oh, yeah, he underwent knee surgery. All right, Snyder confirmed that. Yeah, he underwent knee surgery.
There we go.
Said he will be 100%.
I still would take Fatano.
That's what he said. So
move him inside. Oh, you can. You can have enough. Can't you have enough good off? You can never have enough good offensive linemen, right?
We'll see what happens.
Okay, listen. Okay, the Colts pick is in. They're taking a defensive player. All right, then the Seahawks are on the clock. Don't mute the damn. Okay, don't mute it when the Seahawks.
Do you see who they took?
Just say you
forgot. Can announce it.
Okay. Well, that's probably true. That's probably a good idea.
Said it on the freaking stream, dude.
I know. That's a fair point. Latu Latu.
Yeah, cover your tracks,
goes number 15 to the Colts. He's an interesting story. You probably know the background on him. He started at the University of Washington. He had the neck injury. The doctors at UW would not clear him. So he left. He's out of football, I think, 1 year for sure. I think almost 2 years. Goes to UCLA. They clear him at UCLA, and he goes on to be just a menace. So he would have been a stud at Washington, and Washington obviously could have used him. What is the concern? Like, I've heard a doctor or people say if he has to undergo another surgery, that he's done. Like, he's done forever if he has to go through that fusion surgery again. That's it.
Yeah, it's now I've heard mixed results about that. Mixed results when it comes to teams' opinions of that. But I did hear that a number of teams said that they were comfortable with it, and I thought top 10 may have been a little high for him because of that issue. And here it is with the next. It's not like a medical thing and it's a pass-fail and it's an objective thing. It's a subjective thing. And it's also the value of where you're picking, right? So the Colts may have sat here and said, you know what, we may have needs on the offensive side of the ball, but what value we're getting here? The first defensive player, a guy who's got an incredible upside. And, yeah, maybe we'll take a little bit of a chance on the neck thing, but here we are at 15, and, it's less of a gamble than it would be at 5, let's say, right? So that's why they're facing a different scenario than them. And for all the, you may point to Leighton Vander Esch with the Cowboys, who just had to retire because of a similar neck injury, and some other guys along the way as well. But Danielle Hunter with the Vikings, with the Texans, had a similar issue from what I'm told. Peyton Manning, a similar issue that what Latu's got, I'm told. So, for every example that you see, like this guy had to retire,
now just touch your nose if it's a defensive player, like maybe the right ear if it's Murphy, left ear if it's Leverett. Can you just announce who it is? Again, Latu going to the Colts. Seahawks on the clock. Seahawks fans, who do you want right now? Chat room, what do you want? I don't know. I think they want. I think I would say. Let me speak for the 12th man. I'm not going to say the 12s. I don't like the 12s. I like the 12th man. That's old school. I think Byron Murphy is the guy that everyone wants. Come on.
I think that's the guy they're going to get. I don't know that. No pick line. I don't know. We'll see. His agent is breathlessly texting us. I guess if he tells me, yeah, Byron, he's not with Byron, but if he had said, hey, Byron told us he's staying, I guess I could tell you. Right?
It would be so cool reporting. If you can. Just remember, don't mute yourself when the pick comes in. But for people because I had someone else bring this up to me, isn't he the one that got the DUI? It's the other. It's Sweat. Sweat's the one that got in trouble, not Byron Murphy. And Byron Murphy's just a guy. Is there a comp for Byron Murphy in the league right now? From people you talk to? I'm just curious.
No, I mean not that anybody. I can probably get you one from my talent evaluators. I don't.
Can you get? Is there any way we can get Rap on right now?
Let's see. Let me ask. Let me see if I can ask somebody. No, but I did get a text from somebody.
But that's why we love that.
The picks. We know what he's doing.
I want him to tip the pick. Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that if
makes it too easy,
they don't go interior line here. There's going to be a lot of this fan base. Just anything. If it's Fatanu, if it's him,
defensive line,
something. It's got to be on the line of scrimmage because the Seahawks, and when you watch them and you follow them from afar, but when you hear close, that's been their bugaboo. It's just their interior line, and especially on defense, they can't stop anybody. Running the ball, passing the ball, nothing. And they got a defensive-minded coach. This has got to be up front. I'm confident in their secondary. There's no good linebacker, so that would make sense.
Daniel Jeremiah says Byron Murphy's player comp is Jarrell Casey, who was a good defensive lineman with the Titans and the
I'll
Broncos.
take that.
So,
and as right now, is you're just kind of going back and forth, scouring your phone, replying to agents and general managers. They're not going to trade down. They're going to make this pick. Oh, that's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, they're going to make the pick, yeah.
See, that's why we have you on. It's for stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about.
And you may get what you wish. You may get it. You may get it.
Well, I know, but I want Murphy.
Hasn't been announced yet.
Well, it should be because it's got to be Byron Murphy. I know it. I know it. You did a nice job of tipping it, and I know what it is. It's got to be Byron Murphy. I know you. I know, but it's going to be Byron Murphy. We all know who it's going to be. And it's going to be a great pick, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah, well, I'm going to.
So now you're saying it like
we knew all along who it was. No, I'm thrilled for it. I love Byron Murphy, man. Well, dang it. Keeps happening.
You just talked over
6'1", 300 pounds. Great run defender. Just a big, I describe it as big tub of goo. That's what you want. Well, I mean, not if I'm talking about you or me, but if we're talking about a defensive lineman, I think it works. I mean, right? He's a tub of goo. He's just a tub of goo, a war daddy, just a guy you plop in the middle and no one's going to run on you. There was a no.
What are his numbers?
6'1", 300.
What are his measurements? He's not very tall, right? He's 6'1", 300 pounds.
Who doesn't?
But he's got the violent hands. You know what I mean? He's got those. So listen, if a guy he's listening, weight is 297, so you can't call him a tub of goo, if he's not over 300 pounds. But he's got good quick strike ability and the ability to make plays inside. He was almost the first defensive player taken.
Well, I think it's a great pick. This I think what a lot of Seahawks fans want. This is exactly I think the selection they wanted to go in. I mean, they wanted defense, and this is the guy that a lot of people, including myself, wanted all along. Just someone that they could put in the middle of their defense. They hired a defensive-minded coach, and this guy just makes sense for him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Who and that defensive-minded coach did a good job of highlighting what they're able to do defensively with some of their defensive tackles over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And Justin Matabuke making a ton of money now as a defensive tackle in that defense. So you would hope that he'd be able to kind of set him up for success and help him get there. So
Yeah.
should be it's another solid pick. It's like Fuanga, and Byron Murphy. To me, it's like just plug them in.
You brought up
you're good,
Matabuke. There's been
there.
some, like when they've written about Byron Murphy, he's had that comp. So obviously, with McDonald, calling those plays and the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, he probably sees Murphy and sees a lot of probably Matabuke and Byron Murphy. Yeah, he's a little bit bigger.
I mean, Matabuke he's like 330, right?
No, I said no. No, I got you. He's bigger. He's bigger than Murphy.
that. Probably listed at Matabuke is listed at.
So he's got him by 8 pounds.
305. I thought he was bigger than that. He's 305.
Load him up on some carbs, and he's going to be great. He'll be fine. Do we get a run on defensive players now, since now we've got Leatu Latu off the board, and now we got Murphy?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the corners. Yeah, I mean, Quinion Mitchell from Toledo had a great pre-draft run-up at the Combine and at the Senior Bowl. You got a couple of corners out there now with the potential to be taken. The Seahawks pick is about to be announced, and I can confirm that it's Byron Murphy from Texas. So there you go. That could not have gone, and they didn't trade down either. They got the reputation for trading down. They stayed put. They made the pick, and they take Byron Murphy.
Well, they
did it quickly. 6 minutes on the clock. Run up. One's being announced there. So good on the Seahawks for keeping this thing moving. What time did we say? We said said roughly 6:57.
I remember like that last text you and I were going back and forth. I think you were saying 6:57, 7 o'clock, because you guys keep track of this every year where the 16th pick gets selected, which is just unbelievable that you have that information.
It's a quick search on Twitter. So you were asking me, if you asked me where the 20th pick was, I'd figure out who it was. And Ian, one of the best things he does tonight is tweet every pick.
So Murphy goes, it goes 16 here to the Seahawks. They get their guy they're going to plug in the middle. Take us inside of the conversations. Were they exploring trading down and trying to acquire another pick there in the second round? I mean, you know John Schneider quite well, or just know his history, I should say, of what he likes to do and likes to acquire a bunch of more picks. Okay.
Vikings traded up.
Vikings are at 17 now.
Vikings traded up.
So they traded with Jacksonville. So the Vikings are coming back up into the first round, moving up from 23 to 17. They trade there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I say Jaguars, but it's Jaguars. Mike's getting all the details for you right now. I know. This is what I love.
Yeah, I can actually report this stuff. So you got the Ely, you got the numbers in the trade?
Who would Minnesota like to come up and get?
Here it is. Hold on.
Tell her to speak up. Okay, so who are they coming up and grabbing?
Okay, that's why. Here come the run of defensive players.
Well, just come on. What were the details of the trade?
We'll find out shortly.
Okay. So the Vikings are trading with the Jaguars.
I don't know why they're so slow here. So they traded both of their first round picks. They moved up. 11 and 23, right? Yeah, got it.
I would love to know who they're coming up and going grabbing. Yeah, now you're right, because this now feels like this is the run on D. Yeah?
Yeah. This kind of happened with the receivers last year. Remember, we got to picks like
that
20,
didn't come
21,
out right.
22,
This is the run on D.
4 or 5 receivers in a row.
Yes. Yeah.
You see that commercial with Roger Goodell
and
Eminem talking about Detroit?
Eminem lost me. I'm going to tell you that right now. Just lost me with everything. He just became irrelevant. I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, what happened?
Not sure what happened, but it did. Just absolutely became irrelevant. Okay, go back to Schneider for a second. When I was talking about that trade, before that trade happened, of them moving up to grab him there at number 17, the Vikings moved up with Jacksonville. How much did John Schneider, do you think, tried to move down and acquire a second round pick? How active do you think they were? Okay.
They liked Murphy all along. That's a guy always had ticketed for them. So I would imagine that at that point that they were saying, this is our guy. This is the guy that's going to help our defense. This is the guy that can help our defensive minded head coach. And I would imagine that he didn't entertain it at that point. Now, if it had fallen differently and he wasn't available, there were other defensive options for them there. So perhaps he would have stayed in Pagan anyway. But I just think it was once Murphy got there.
What's the? I mean, we've talked about this before, Mike.
I think that was the easy pick for him.
What's the vibe with McDonald, just in terms of, like, how do you think he's going to do in year one? Like, I mean, every new coach goes through their ups and downs, and that's just part of being a new head coach. Yeah, go ahead. Again, Byron Murphy.
Hold on. Let me get these terms.
Selected by the Seahawks 16th overall. Vikings made a trade. Mike's getting all the details right now. I'll go to Golf Voice and whisper so he can get them all. Yeah, take it out. Take the headset out. Throw it down on the ground. Byron Murphy, again, going 16 to the Seahawks. Leave your comments in the chat right now. They're on YouTube. Also, again, if you're on the chat here on the Riverside, for those, Nick and others, you can jump in and ask a question. Just say, I'd like to ask a question, jump in. We'll throw you on. You throw in. You could be a big star here on the old video right now. Did you get the final details on that deal?
Yeah, Jacksonville made out pretty well in this one. So Jacksonville gives up 17. Minnesota gives up 23. 157 this year, as well as a third-round pick in 2025. That's not a bad little haul. Fourth-round pick in 2025. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty good for.
So Dallas Turner is the pick there for the Minnesota Vikings. It's just amazing with all this just offensive talent that is in this year's draft, that a guy like Dallas Turner, who's just a freak, ends up going number 17 all the way to for the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings, I mean, it's, you know what this draft for the Vikings a little bit reminds me of, even though the two players probably are not as talented as those two guys last year. It reminds me of what Houston did last year, where they got the quarterback first and then they went with their defensive player. And kind of the same thing here with the Vikings. They get their quarterback, they get McCarthy at 10, and then they're able to get maybe the defensive player that they moved up in the draft to get there at number 17 there with Dallas Turner. So the Bengals are on the clock. They're at 18. What do we got?
Bengals.
Take that, Cincinnati, and your terrible chili. And your terrible chili. It's awful. It's just terrible. Anyone that tells you the chili is good is, I'm drunk. Just convinced of it. It's not good. God, look at this.
157 or 167?
Just great. This is inside the war room at the NFL Network studios. They're going to see how popular this thing is, and next year we won't be able to do it because, in fact, actually, they'll probably just hire me, and you and I will just do this ourselves. Put me on the NFL Network payroll.
This is the art right here. This is Dave's shot. Dave's shot watching 40 TVs. None of them are Boston sports. Yes, he's a big Boston sports guy.
Is he just the typical Boston fan?
The Bruins were playing, so he had to wait for the
stereotypical guy.
The typical Boston fan, yes. As a matter of fact, the one year that the Patriots won the Super Bowl, he then came down. There were 6 of them? Yeah, I know there were 6 of them. I heard about it. I watched it in the Dynasty.
Oh, I know. Just a terrible time.
How did you live through all those Super Bowls? It was so miserable, Dave. Oh my God. After the first Super Bowl, it's like, oh boy, here comes 20 years of crap. and fine with their Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We go back to the hotel. Everybody's, unwinding from the Super Bowl. He comes down in his Red Sox shirt.
Okay, but I say that in a way that like I don't like their fan base. Right? I love it. I mean, I love like a true like East Coast, Boston fan base. So I mean, like for you, I know you're not a fan anymore, but you are of the Phillies. Flyers
and Phillies. Matter of
don't
fact,
like the Sixers, huh?
And they said, "Hey, we put your Sixers on the wall." I said, "No, I don't give a shit. Don't worry about it. It's fine."
Really?
Just
they don't.
I don't. No, I don't.
But you like Embiid, don't you?
What we grew up watching. I can't do it.
Like Joel Embiid kind of does it for you, yeah.
I do.
I got you.
Yeah, I do. I just it's not. It's unwatchable to me. The entire product.
Oh, I heard that one. Yeah. Marvin Sims.
Did you?
Was it Sims? No. What am I thinking?
Marvin Sims?
I was kind of close, wasn't I?
Well, rhymes with that.
I felt I was close. This is the Bengals pick, and then it's going to be the Rams, the Steelers, the Dolphins, your Eagles, and then Jacksonville at 23, Dallas for the first time. Then we get the Green Bay Packers. Your Eagles.
I just said it's not. So I had an agent today. I had an agent today reached out and said, who are my Commanders taking? I'm like, you're still a fan. That's cute.
Well, I think you can still be a
fan of a team with as many times as you lock horns with teams. No,
you miss it a little bit.
I said I stopped being an Eagles fan when I covered the Eagles. It's impossible. Can't see how the sausage is made.
The Bengals.
What do we want here?
You're going raspberry. What kind? Take us inside the NFL Network. What kind of food we got at the NFL Network? Like, what are they serving there?
Not a good setup today.
It's so not good. So you had to. The NFL Network didn't give you provide you like a good spread. What are we doing?
It was better than they described to me. They told me it was just going to be wings, and they actually did have some like a carving.
I'm going to tell you.
Station.
I'm going to tell you next week.
Well, I wouldn't have ordered out if I knew that.
Or next week, next year.
Yeah.
You got to come out to the Seahawks draft party. It's unlike the media food. Like today, they were serving steak there. Apparently, tomorrow they'll serve crab cakes. Yeah, dude, they go all out. It's the only reason I'm going tomorrow. So
really?
I'm just going to go over there and be like, can I get it? You have a to-go box? Oh, you know him. You love Dave. Who doesn't love Dave?
They had a Pearson while you're there.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Who doesn't love Dave?
Let me come out tomorrow.
We've gone over
I didn't say
before.
That was supposed to be private. You know his nickname, right? I know. Well, I love the anything else. I wish I could still play that.
Well, you
know what we call him, right?
Else?
You know the nickname before Dave, right? The Scowler.
I don't know.
Of course he's a nice. You tell me this. Is there anybody else in the media relations in the NFL that has ever been in Curb Your Enthusiasm? No? Yeah. But he's the only one.
There's an NFL player agent that was in there last year, which
what season was it?
What season was
like
that?
About 3 or maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I can't even remember he told me one time what the connection was. For the viewers, Dave Pearson runs the media department for the Seahawks. He runs like all the interview, like handles all the media for the players and coaches and all that. I think it's something with his kid, like something in Hollywood.
Well,
like
his son. Hold on, his son.
Yeah.
His son is in production.
Yes, he was
working. Now this is all coming back to me.
Yeah, it was him at a golf course, and like he walks up to Larry and says something to him. Yeah, like a disgruntled golfer. Yeah, he had a line, and I think maybe his son was writing on the show or something with the show.
Oh, wow,
pretty cool.
Yeah, he's in. He went to film school, and he's in that world.
What are the Rams? What are you hearing about the Rams at 19? They are on the clock right now with Mims going to the Bengals. What's Sean McVay got cooking up?
lot of scuttlebutt for the Rams. The talk that they could be trading up for a quarterback, that obviously did not happen. I would say,
Okay.
I would lean offensive line since they've done so much
Okay.
for the offensive line at this point. You're going to start to see some interior guys come off the board now as well.
Let's pause. Let's pause.
Go back,
Let's
see
pause
if I
for a
can
second.
find my handy dandy chart here.
This is brought to you by our draft
Pause for
coverage,
station
Georgetown Beer.
identification.
Big thanks to Georgetown Beer, Rogers, a fine Pilsner, created by one of the two owners of Georgetown Beer. That would be Roger. Along with Manny, they created a fine beer that is the largest independent Washington State brewery in our fine state, Georgetown Beer. They are open every day, 7 days a week, their tasting room from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Because who doesn't like to crush a beer at 10 a.m.? Cheers. I know I do. What did they say?
What a tweet from the Rams. the Rams tweeted the old woman from Titanic, it's been 84 years memes. 84 years meme, and it says we're on the clock in the first round. We had Les Snead in here today, smiling ear to ear, getting the chance. He said usually it's like
so
the first night of the draft for us.
For those
now
that, like a couple of weeks ago, I think the first episode we did together on this new venture, you and I together, you had talked about how they were real active to get Sam Howell. That they were competing. Seattle was competing with the Rams to get Sam Howell. That they were high on him. What options do they have right now at quarterback? Because obviously Stafford can't play forever. You know, the guy has an injury history. So where do they go here in the near future?
Yeah. Well, Les had talked today about Stafford being in what he called the prime of his career, which was interesting because he's not in the prime, right? He's in the back end of his career. He's coming up 16 fairway, let's say. But I'll be honest, when he had that elbow issue a couple of years ago, I thought maybe he was really going to tail off, and really lose that zip on his arm, because we saw it happen so quickly with Peyton Manning. So he's really rebounded a lot better than I thought that he was. So that's a good indication for the Rams that he's still got some juice left. He's got plenty of guys to throw to. They did a great job last year with the pick to bring in Puka Nacua. So they still feel good about it. It's been more about protecting him, and that's why they put so many resources.
It's interesting, and I wonder, do you think there's any sense maybe with the Rams? You know, I know McVay kind of flirted with the not retirement, maybe going to TV. Does he possibility he rides off in the sunset when Stafford is done? Does he?
He seems rejuvenated and refreshed. I find it hard to believe that you could entertain retirement at that point of your career and then put it to bed for the next 10 to 15 years, right? It's going to pop up again if you're already having those thoughts early on. So, I've been given no indication that that's the case.
They're on the clock right now. Pick 19, and they'll be the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, Jacksonville, who traded earlier there with Minnesota. Then it's the Cowboys, the Packers, and then it's Tampa Bay, followed by Arizona, the Buffalo Bills. They're at pick number 28. Then the Lions, Ravens, Niners, and Chiefs. We have to talk about it because it's NFL show, and if we don't talk about the Cowboys, we're not doing our job. Okay. Is this a one-year thing for Mike McCarthy? Do you think Bill Belichick is waiting for that job, or is he waiting for something else?
Whether it's Belichick or somebody else, I think it's this notion of all.
Okay, what are you laughing about? What do you got?
The agent for the
agent for who? Took?
The agent for the players that the Rams just selected had texted me and Ian the other day saying maybe the Rams at 19. Now, he was hoping to shock the world at 9, but he said maybe the Rams at 19.
They just had a live shot of the Rams war room.
They went defense. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay. Yeah. But do you think where do the Rams where do the Rams employees and the front office personnel, where do they all shop to have the same dress shirt that they don't tuck in and roll up the sleeves? Is there a store? Can you ask around those people that are there in LA? Is there a store that just sells those shirts?
We don't have a whole lot of that going on here. We got some flannel here. We got some.
Okay, but there's got to be a store where the Rams shop.
Oh, you got rocking.
That is the
print,
dress shirt, not tucked in.
You're not a Giants fan, though. You are?
There's got to be a Rams fan. Ask them where they shop at.
Here? Who am I guys?
Dress shirts. Fan? It's just
they
me.
Want to know where all the Rams dudes got their.
The untucked dress shirts. Where is that?
They got their dress shirts. Is there a store that sells all these untucked? Was I not supposed to be doing this? Because now's not.
Yeah,
the
you
time
can't
to tell
cut
me.
out now. We're in.
You are looking live.
Yeah, doing a live show. We're doing a live show within the live show. That's what we're doing here. Pucksports.com and YouTube. It's great. It's unbelievable. The ratings are going to be through the roof. I'm going to send you a great bottle of booze.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a great bottle of booze.
Listen,
you don't even realize how nice this bottle is going to be.
What's that?
It's going to be real nice. It's going to be real nice. And one of those real tasty, just a pack of those tasty cigars you like. Oh, you're going to love it. Can you ask if you can?
God, I'd love to be smoking one now. Can we smoke cigars
Let's
here?
light one up right now and just see what happens. NFL Network studios in LA shut down as reporter Mike Garafolo sparks up inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jared Verse, it just came down.
Is this quarterback going to be
Jared Verse, the Florida State edge guy. That was a guy that was rumored with Seattle. There goes to the Rams there at pick 19. Hey, was there ever any thought with the Rams? You know, because there's always been this thought with quarterback. You talked about Sam Howell, that they liked Sam Howell. And that kind of got into a bidding war there with Seattle a little bit. Was there ever talk of them moving up Nix or Michael Penix at all for those guys? Did they have the capital to move up or want to? The Rams moving up.
The Rams or Seahawks? Okay. Which one? No, I mean, that was kicked around today, as that was the reason that they were making calls. But I didn't really get a sense that they were serious about their trade. You know, a lot of times it's people, general managers making calls just to feel things out. Like the Eagles made a ton of calls. And the Eagles didn't move up. It looks like they're going to pick it. 22. They got 3 more coming up before they pick. So, I learned that years ago. It's like, this team's making calls. And
somebody wants to know, Matthew, on the chat, what kind of cigars do you like? You know? What kind of cigars do you smoke? What?
I just had a Tatuaje. What year was the collection? 2008. Tatuaje. It's Spanish for tattoo.
Oh.
And
tattoo?
No, but hold on. The translation was no, it's tattoo, okay. But that's the label.
That's fine.
Or that's the cigar maker. My brain's not working. It's been a long day. But the name of the cigar was it translates to.
Okay.
So it was Cajonu, not Cajones, Cajonu. And my Cuban stepfather-in-law, I said, "What does Cajonu mean?" And he said, "Well, you know what Cajones means." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, Cajonu."
Yeah, I got a guy here that's telling me, Brian, people know who you're talking. They know the cigar. See, I like cigars, Mike. I'm not a cigar guy. Like, I got a buddy who loves them, and we go golf. We go on a golf trip every year, and he brings all these cigars, and I'm like, whatever. Just you give me what you like. He's also my brown liquor guy. So, so he's good.
Yeah. I think okay, yeah. I think it was a 2018 now, not 2008, 2018. I don't know if your guys there know what the year means. I don't know if it's from that year or if it's the I don't know. If they could tell me what the year means, but I find it hard to believe that some of these, because there was one that was available from like.
Well, this guy Brian Larson on our chat says 7 years in the cigar industry. If you come out here, he's got you covered. Well, yeah, you do. It's a long overdue
Man, I'm gonna
trip
have to spend
here.
more than just a weekend out there in Seattle with all you guys hooking me up with all this stuff.
Somebody wants to know: have you ever tried a Swisher Sweep?
Yeah.
What? No, I didn't hear it. Trying to get your reaction to the Swisher Sweep thing.
What?
Oh, what do you mean Washington?
Potato,
Where's he going?
Washington.
He's going where? Pittsburgh? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna say he's going to Pittsburgh. Okay.
Maybe.
So you know what? God dang it. I mean, I like Murphy. God, I really like Fadano. I really did. He is such a Steeler. God, the way he plays. He is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers love. He fits them to a T, the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
It's a really good pick. That's a good job. Yeah.
Well, it makes up for their quarterback decisions this offseason.
Hey, do you know yet? Does he have a catchphrase? Has he come up with one? I don't. Like let's steal or steal ride or something. What was it? No, it was something dumb. Put on your
No, we were.
Yeah, let's
put on your heart
dance.
Let's head to the mill. I got it.
You think someone could just talk to him and just say, just be normal? Can you go back to being normal? Is it possible? Yeah, the first couple of years of his career, he was normal. He was.
Was he ever?
Oh, he was good. He was normal. Okay, I'm telling you, he was. Yeah, I got cigar recommendations, bourbon recommendations. What's your favorite? You got a favorite bourbon? Well, okay, I know, but
I mean that's a loaded question. Do I have a favorite bourbon? Like in every day? The one that I and it did not get great reviews.
Mike Drop L9 what?
L1901, which L1901.
Okay.
So 19 was the year, 01 was they every year is 01 because they only release one a year. So it was a Mike Drop L1901.
Okay.
That was amazing. And Mike Drop has done different. They did a rye, which was not good.
Okay.
First year that they did a bourbon was a 10-year bourbon. Maybe it was 13.
Jeez.
That thing's selling for like $8,000 a bottle. And so when I saw this one available, I'm like, I'm buying this. And I don't like the resale thing, but I'm like, I'm buying it. So I went and bought two during COVID. I went into the city. It took me 10 minutes to get into the city. There was no traffic. It was amazing. And I went and grabbed it and brought it home. And I loved it. I mean, it was like graham crackery and like s'mores to me. It was delicious. And there's still a couple of bottles left. There was one that they had at a liquor store in Manhattan, and I didn't get it in time. It was on sale for, I want to say, $110, and now the cheapest I can find is like $400 because they obviously they're not making any more of them. It was a 1-year deal.
We're gonna get you a good one. I can't remember what was the one I sent you last time. I don't even know if I remember. Yeah. That was a good one.
Graininger, is that what it was? It was good. You know what it was? It was one of those sneaky bottles where, I opened it, I was like, oh, it's good.
Right,
because I'm more whiskey than Scotch, more American whiskey than Scotch, because Scotch is whiskey. So I grabbed it. I was like, okay, cool, but Scotch, and it wound up being one of those things where, what I like to do is have a couple of pours and then put a bottle aside and then come back to it later on. And then it was one of those where like the last
Buffalo Trace, yay or nay?
Half the quarter of it, I really crushed it. I was like, oh boy, that was really good. So,
yeah. Okay.
Buffalo Trace, the standard Buffalo Trace, yeah, I like Buffalo Trace. United carries it as their standard bourbon, so that's a good standby. Although it's going to sound weird.
No, I don't.
To me, it tastes different coming out of the smaller bottles than it does coming out of a bigger bottle.
You know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you a bourbon.
It tastes like thinner to me. I don't know why.
And you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh when I tell you this one. And it's good. We had it this weekend. We had a delayed Masters party this weekend. If I could show you, we just turfed our backyard, fake grass, right? But back there, I also put a 3-hole putting green. Okay. So I'm out. I'll send you a picture. I'm out there. We're out there all the time, just putting away. So this past week we had a Masters party. All right, where it was delayed. We ordered the boxes that you can get from Augusta. They send you all the food. Mm-hmm. We made pimento cheese sandwiches, all this stuff. But we had to get a bunch of bourbon, right? I didn't want a bunch of expensive bourbon because we were making bourbon and Cokes. And out there, that's all they drink in Augusta is bourbon and Cokes. So we got a bourbon from you guys have Trader Joe's out there, right? Yeah. The Trader Joe's Kentucky bourbon. I'm telling you, just try it. I swear to God. I know it's dirt cheap, and you're going to be like, it's not.
I'm not knocking you.
Anybody on the stream, check it out if you've had it. The Kentucky, it's some big distillery must make it. It's not like Trader Joe's, right?
Well, you can.
But it's good.
You can source
real good
anything from anywhere. MGP is a big one that people source from. But what was their wine? What was their wine called?
The $2 Chuck. Yeah, $2 Chuck is great. Yeah, unbelievable.
$2 Chuck.
I love it. For the price, it was like $9.
Great.
Oh, the $2. Yeah. I mean, it was cheap. Yeah.
No, it's back to $2 apparently. I saw this recently.
Well, he should get emotional.
Oh, there you go. That's a good moment. Fatano's getting emotional here. That's good. By the way, these the ones where they surprise
the best
picks with the family.
Of course they are. You know what? You think about this. You know, sometimes you do a good job of this, and others do as well. Is like you got to tell like the human side of these guys. Like I was having a baseball discussion with one of my baseball guys that comes on the show, and we were talking about how hard these guys work and all the stuff that they do behind the scenes that we as fans and the media never get to see. Right? The countless hours of preparation, the not wanting to lose or fail. And I look at these guys like on draft night. These guys have been playing this sport, since they were like 8 years old. And all the sacrifices that they have made as they got older, like in high school, in college, they're having fun. But I mean, getting up in the morning to go work out, they got their schoolwork, all the sacrifices that their family has made for them. I think we lose sight of that a lot. I really do. Because,
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why we do a good job of highlighting that stuff on draft night. So this scene with Fatano and his family right now, because I know it was tough for him to hear a lot of the injury stuff during the pre-draft process. And
because he probably thought, right? Okay, so you tell me, had nothing come out there, right, about his knee? Where is he going? He's not going to 20, right? Fatano. No. What I'm saying is, had no information come out about his knee.
He's going to
where? How much higher would he have been drafted?
Oh.
Or do you think this was where he was going to be?
No, I think he goes higher than that. Yeah, I think he goes higher than that because it was thought that he may need surgery moving forward. So there's
Dolphins are on the clock. Troy Fatano again. 3 Huskies now have been taken in the first round. Just an incredible season they had this past season, and their 3 best players now have all been taken in the first 20 picks. With Penix going 8, Falcons 9, Bears take Odunze. Fatano now going to the Steelers at 20. All right, Dolphins pick is in. Eagles are Mike's Eagles are on the clock. Ryan wants.
Hurry up, Dolphins! Make your pick. Chop, chop! Come on, Dolphins.
There you go. That was good. That was real good. Yeah, that was Berman-like. But can you do it as Berman next time?
What did I do today?
Okay, never mind. I'm not going to ask you that question. I don't want to. I just don't want to ask you. Could Seattle? Ryan wants to know in the chat. Can Seattle get back in the second round? You think? No, sorry. Can they get into the second round?
Seattle get back in first round?
Obviously not in the first round. Now, can they get a second round pick tomorrow? Can they move up at some point? Are you hearing anything about them acquiring a second round pick? Okay.
Oh yes. That would surprise me. Again, we don't talk about them as a trade up team, but
we're not going to do it. We're not doing one
tomorrow. I'll have it for you on tomorrow's stream. What time do we start tomorrow?
I'm not going to make you do this for another day.
I'm joking.
You kidding me? Why does he not like to trade up?
Because he doesn't like to give up. All these guys think. Now, I'll give him credit. He has traded unknown commodities for known commodities over the years. Now, the Percy Harvin one, notwithstanding, that didn't work out, obviously. But I say it all the time. I don't know why these guys hold. You know what it is? Every general manager thinks, well, my 5th-round pick, I'm going to turn him into a star. Whereas, these other guys don't know how to. So my 5th, I hold on it. Now, teams are starting to get a little bit more looser with these, and I don't know whether it's analytics or whatnot, or realizing that this generation of general manager realizing that these things don't pan out. When you get to the 5th round, we were talking to Les Snead about this today, they get Puka Nacua. 5th rounders are a coin flip whether they're going to make the opening day roster. Like, I've done the numbers on this. It is a coin flip. And so, would you rather trade away a 5th rounder for a guy? Now, a lot of times you got to pay a guy on top of that, so that's why guys are reluctant. Would you rather trade away that for a known commodity? I love that John Schneider has done that over the years. But when it comes to trading assets to move up in the draft,
how pivotal do you think?
Do that, of course.
This draft and maybe next year, just where his stance is right now with the organization. Is it lock solid? There was a choice here, right? That was made. Jody Allen and her ownership group, they could have decided to clean all of it, clean the house entirely. They did not. In essence, she chose him and said, I believe in you.
Yeah.
But does that come with, hey, you are on a timeline here?
Yeah.
That you better get us back to where we want to be?
No. Obviously, but I don't think it's a short timeline. I think she realizes that, this is going to be his turn to really be the one who has the stronger voice and more of a say in what's happening. It's Pete Carroll had final say, but those guys worked so well together. Right. I don't want to make it sound like John was, secondary to Pete Carroll all these years at all. But now it's unquestioned, right? Now John Schneider is the guy who is going to have more.
You think there's some freedom for him on that a little bit? Even though he would say, I love my time with Pete. That was great. But do you think he would say he would welcome that a little bit in a way? Maybe in a private moment? Yes.
Welcome the chance.
Wouldn't anybody like that?
Do things as an unquestioned general manager? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Sure, absolutely. And I think it had run its course with Pete Carroll. And it was time to move on, and Jody Allen sensed that. And, now they've got a different kind of, it's a defensive guy and a high energy guy in Mike McDonald, but it's not the same kind of Pete Carroll type situation that they've got going on. So I think they did a nice job of bridging to this next regime here from a coaching standpoint. And still, it made sense, right? Like it was within the Seahawks philosophy to hire Mike McDonald and be that guy moving forward. I cannot believe how many people are in Chop Robinson's house. Look
a lot of people, and I'm not seeing it. Is it a small house or a big house? Yeah.
That room is not and it had like a column divider and some stairs here.
I love it.
It's like people are probably spilling
Chop
onto the
Robinson,
stairs.
of course, you just mentioned you did a great tease that Chop Robinson was going to go there to 21 to the Miami Dolphins. Now the Eagles are on the clock. Now we talked about Dallas a little bit earlier. Let me get your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of change, of course. Kelsey retiring. There was some thought that maybe Sirianni would be out, right, Mike? He retains his job. That could be an opening. So you never thought, but what about this year? He's got to win this year, right?
I never bought that. That. But no. He's got to win this year. And, they overhauled the coordinator positions. So they definitely, that when I say that I didn't sense that he was ever possibly going to be in the outs, I did know that there were going to be conversations with Jeffrey Lurie. And anytime you're having those conversations with an owner who has shown a penchant for in the past moving on from guys after those conversations, as he did with Doug Peterson, it's like you're still in the red. Okay, you're not. I didn't think he was going to be let go, but you're still in the red, and you need to start turning things around.
With that, we talked about Belichick in Dallas. Would that ownership group, that GM, be comfortable with somebody like Bill Belichick? Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it in the mix. I really don't. And I don't see why Belichick would want that mix either. The Eagles pick in. Why is he going? Come on, Howie. Howie's got the charger plugged into the phone here. Who? Oh. No,
are there any Georgia guys left for them
Eagles
to take?
I'm taking Georgia guys for a while. There's your scoop. Huh? Yeah, I mean, there are Georgia guys available. It's just a question of.
Okay. Now, I've asked you this before, but I am curious about it because there's no doubt that, the new head coach here in Washington is Jed Fish. Jed Fish, of course, spent some time in the NFL. Well, I've asked you this before. Howie Roseman and he were college roommates at the University of Florida together. If Jed Fish has any type of success, and he's shown this, he'll take the next job. He has success at Washington. Sirianni stumbles. Do you think Jed Fish would be a candidate for the job? At least a conversation, a call.
Jed's on his way. Jed's on the path, and it could be a short path depending on how things go in Washington.
Oh, I love it. You're mad. See, the Eagles fan came out on you. Are you mad at the pick?
Oh, hold on. Here it is. It's in. Hold on. No, I just want the pick. Hang on. Oh.
What do you got for it?
Okay. Good pick.
You like what the Eagles have done this offseason?
Autocorrect.
Okay. Roseman kind of set himself apart from the other GMs. I mean, he just seems to make a lot of just smart picks, like all the time. Like, and I like how I love his personality too. I like how he goes after people, fans, and all that kind of stuff. I get a kick out of it. Like he's he just seems like he's a fun dude. Hey.
Sorry,
You're good.
I've got 150 Eagles fans. Dude, you gotta tell me.
It's all good.
It's 30
I got dogs barking in the background. You're fine. The 10-year-old has come home from baseball practice. He's going to probably pop in here and want to ask you a question. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Owen, Owen, you want to ask a question on the draft show?
Oh, bring him in. Let's see how practice went. They look at. I mean.
They don't have.
Was there a sale on black suits in Philly here? Look at this. This is unbelievable.
Hey,
they got a group rate.
Hey, we're on the subject of coaches. Does Pete Carroll coach again?
Yes. What's happening?
Yeah.
In the NFL?
Done.
Would shock me.
He kind of feels done.
I mean. Yeah. I mean, if Belichick's not getting back in, like, how's Pete Carroll getting back in at this time? I do wonder, though. A guy who's got that energy, a guy who's been on the way that he's been on for so long. Like,
do you want to ask a question on the draft show?
Like, what literally does Pete Carroll do?
Here, it's Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. Here's the vamp. Oh, I can't call him that anymore. Here's Owen. You want to ask a question? There's Mike. You got to get close to the microphone, though. Okay? Did you hear what the Seahawks did?
Didn't they draft someone from Texas?
What's happening, dude? How are you? They did draft someone from Texas. Sources confirm that they took Byron Murphy. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. We like it. God, Quinyon Mitchell's. So Quinyon Mitchell to the Eagles, by the way. He's going to be a stud. Puck can't even hear me right now, so he doesn't know. Tell me the best thing about your dad.
He's a decent golfer.
Wow. That didn't go as planned. He's a decent golfer. Okay.
I don't know if I can answer that.
You gotta tell you
Yeah.
know where
How
Michael
is he as a
Penix went?
dad?
Because you love Michael Penix.
Went to the Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do love. He went to the Falcons. See, you were tracking this stuff. You were tracking this stuff.
Were the top 5 picks
while you were at baseball
all
practice.
quarterbacks?
It's impressive multitasking by you, my friend. No, but 6 of the top 12 were. So every other pick for the top 12, not every other, no, but the average of every other was a quarterback.
Caleb
That is
Williams,
a new record. We've never seen that before.
Jaden Daniels, and then
There's a tweet. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels,
May.
and then
Drake May. Yeah.
What comes
And
after
then,
April?
And was it
Drake May.
Michael?
That's right.
No,
Why?
Marvin Harrison.
So, go ahead. Sorry. Then Marvin Harrison. Yes, he went number 4. Number 5 was Joe Alt. Number 6 was Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver from LSU. Number 7 was J.C. Latham, right?
He was 10.
Number 8 was Michael Penix. That's your guy.
Yeah.
10 was, that was a trade because the Jets were at 10. They traded to the Vikings. That was J.J. McCarthy. And then the Jets at number 11
took Roman Dunze.
took Olaf Ashanu from Penn State, the offensive tackle.
Oh, yeah. So the
Roma
Bears have
Dunze,
Caleb Williams and Roman
went to the
Dunze,
Bears at number 9.
Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore.
Yes, and the two of them were, yes, and the two of them were dapping up. Hold on a second here. Who took them? Oh, wow. Okay. Jaguars go receiver.
So the Bears have
What was the question?
3 good wide receivers.
Yes,
and
they
Keenan
have
Allen.
Caleb Williams.
And Keenan Allen.
And they have Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. But Caleb and Rome were dapping. Who's that? And Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift. So Caleb Williams, usually a lot of times you come into the NFL as a number 1 overall pick, you're going to a bad team. So you don't have a lot of these guys around you that have, on the offensive side of the ball. Usually a lot of times it's a second year where they load up for the guy. So Caleb Williams is going to a stacked roster. You don't usually see that in the NFL. So that's a byproduct of the fact that the Bears' number 1 overall pick was one that they acquired via trade. Because a lot of times, again, a team's picking number 1. They're coming off a poor season and they have a poor roster. The Bears are on the up, so that's a good spot for Caleb Williams right now.
Done? Okay.
Bye.
Yes, Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. What a great pick. Guy had a fantastic Senior Bowl week.
Yeah.
He did a great job at the combine.
Did you eat dinner yet?
He's the vampire? You call him the vampire?
So the first
Vampire. Why do you call him the vampire?
2 years that he was, little kid, right? Well, an infant, alive, he did not sleep through the night. So he would sleep during the day and would be up all night long for 2 years. So call him the vampire.
Too.
And it ruined me. I slept like a baby before him. A baby. I slept 8 hours, 9 hours through the night.
Dude,
Then because he would get up like every half an hour, the slightest noise now, I'm like, I'm up ready to move. I sleep like 6 hours because to this day, can't get by it. Can't get past it.
Still to this day.
That kid knows his football. I'll tell you that when he won his mom's fantasy football league 2 years ago. He's just a machine, man. Now he sleeps like a teenager. No, but you know what he has? He still has a little bit of FOMO. He's got FOMO. Do you have that at all? So he likes to stay up a little bit, doesn't want to miss out on the action, but then we'll get up a little early too. He doesn't want to miss out on stuff. So he's got a little bit of that. My daughter, on the other hand, is straight teenager.
Okay.
That's 15 hours sleeping. And don't wake her up and don't talk to her. And don't ask her how your day was. How was your day? What do you mean, how's my day? Day's fine. How's your day? Just asking how things were going. Just asking how your day was. I'll leave you alone. Hey, sweetie, how you doing? That's what you're wearing today? What? You don't like this? It looks fine. Just asking if that's what you're wearing today. Okay. Leave me alone. What did we miss here?
Well, you never
Mitchell went to the Eagles out of Toledo. Okay.
Quinyon Mitchell went to the Eagles.
Okay.
I'm telling you, this kid he was nails. They keep showing the highlights from the Senior Bowl. He was phenomenal that week. I mean, he was on receivers' hips the entire week, and he trusted himself to cover these guys from underneath.
Okay, so
you have to do in the NFL
is he the best one that's going on right now? He's the best GM,
Eagles right there.
the best personnel department. They just seem to always kind of get it right. It feels like. Yeah.
The best. I like what Howie does, and the interesting part of what he does. He's always
sure.
Forward thinking. I say forward. Every general manager is supposed to be forward thinking. He does it as best. I mean, a lot of teams in recent memory have torn it down. Howie knew in his market he wasn't going to be able to tear it down, so they rebuilt.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs while they were rebuilding. It was incredible, which the Seahawks have done too, by the way. The Seahawks, John Staton did a great job of that when they had a rebuilding year 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, and everybody thought that they were going to be in the dip, and they still remained competitive, which was also a credit to Pete Carroll as a coach as well.
Got a big deal?
Oh, my God. What?
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's Tony Khan, the son of Shad Khan, in one of those, like,
what do you mean?
Neck
like the old school neck brace?
Because like you were in a car accident. You were in a car accident, and your lawyer tells you to put the neck brace on. That's what he was wearing. Huh? Was that a wrestling thing? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it's fake. It is. We think. So Tony's involved in AEW wrestling, so he runs that, which apparently he's been doing very well. And so he was in a neck brace.
I love that he's carrying the wrestling storyline on. Why wouldn't you try to carry that on? That's unbelievable.
Into the draft.
Just keep it going. Brian Thomas went to Jacksonville there at 23. The Cowboys on the clock at 24. So, again, we talked a little bit earlier about this with McCarthy. This feel like the end to you, the McCarthy and the Dak Prescott era, if that doesn't work out this year? Just for both. Does it feel like the end for both McCarthy and Prescott, that they would move on
like
and just kind of go in a different direction for those two? No.
Oh! I think you meant JJ McCarthy. I'm sorry, I think you meant JJ McCarthy. Mike McCarthy. Yeah, it does. It does. And Jerry Jones talking up how despite the lack of progressing contract negotiations, they still want him back. And
he
all
should
that
just
stuff.
bounce
Jerry's
and let somebody else do it.
Things right now. Hold on a second. Oh God, this is fantastic. So Pelicero's got text from his wrestling loving friend, who goes, "I am so happy because he saw the neck brace that Tony Thomas." If you don't know Tony Khan, it fits. It just fits.
Yeah,
it just fits. That's great.
Right.
Yeah, Jerry's like, we're all in. Well, they're not all in. And
how old is he now?
But they're not really having.
He's got to be in.
You're saying are just words now. They're not really.
I mean, I guess we both can look that up. I mean, he's.
I don't know. I have the internet in front of me. Hold on a second.
It seems we've got time for wrapping up shop here, right? Yeah. It's
that's close to.
And who takes over? The kid, right? The kid takes over.
If that's what you're going for, yeah. Yes. I mean, Steven's been an integral part of what they've done.
Well, that's what he does.
Just watching Ian's face as he's on TV, definitely tipping a pick for sure. This is fantastic. Well, no, this is a post-mortem. This is after they announced the Jaguars pick. So he's telling you that they added that they added Brian Thomas because they lost Calvin Ridley. They did add Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis is not that kind of a guy. He's a different kind of receiver. So
hey, speaking of Jacksonville, what is the situation there with the quarterback and him getting a new deal? Do you think he'll be in line for a major deal like these other guys? Really? You think he's worth it?
Yeah. They're already at a big
doesn't
number.
really matter,
they're already
does
in
it?
the mid-50s from what I heard.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think he's got to play a little better. To me, he doesn't look like he's the number one overall pick that he was that year, and that surefire prospect so he's got to play a little better. The problem is, and you're seeing it now, I mean, Tua's going to get money in the 50s. The salary cap went up so much, and the quarterback is worth so much that either you commit to him or you don't.
Do you think the league, the NFL ever flirts with the idea? Do you remember when the NBA? You mentioned you were an NBA fan at one point. Do you remember when the NBA did the bird rights? You know, where they did the contracts where you could pay one player more money than anybody else, wouldn't necessarily count all against the cap. Why doesn't the league just explore that? I mean, the quarterback, he makes so much money, it's ridiculous. And half these times these guys aren't worth it. So just make it a separate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does tie up a bunch of the cap. Well, because then you're going to get the competitive imbalance, right? You're going to get the teams that are going to say, I've got no problem. Like baseball, willing to go over the luxury tax. They don't want that in the NFL. They want the Cincinnati Bengals of the world to be able to compete with the Dallas Cowboys of the world. If you start to open it up a little bit, then you're going to have problems in that competitive imbalance.
We live in a capitalistic society. Let's go. I just think it's funny. You punt. I get the point, and you're right. I mean, it's the reason the sport is so popular is because of everybody every year, for the most part, feels like they've got a chance to be competitive, or they can turn it around real fast. But it does feel like you get, like, I remember those Seattle teams or any of these good teams that draft well. When you draft well, and then all these guys have these contracts that come up, you're like, well, we get punished because we can't sign them all because of the salary cap, even though we did all of the, the heavy lifting and the scouting and the evaluation of it. We don't even get to reap all the benefits of it. I don't know. There's a little part of that that's unfair, but I understand what you want to do in creating a more balanced league. But
yeah. Is Yam on this set here, by the way?
Are you still not allowed to be in the same room with
Michael
Yam?
Are they doing the show from here? Or they?
I don't know.
I gotta find a show.
You're so curious where Michael Yam is going to be. Jerry Jones is asleep. He's 81.
Cowboys down to 45 seconds here on the clock. What's happening?
Okay, what's the deal? Lions make a trade with the Cowboys. Mike's got it in the war room in L.A. Lions are coming up and getting Brennan Jackson, Wazoo.
Hold on. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Aaron Glenn gets himself
a cornerback. So the Lions traded with the Cowboys. Lions were at 29, right?
Right now.
Okay, moving up 5 spots, 24 there with the Cowboys.
29.
Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator for your Lions.
Compensation. Come on, Don. What we got?
Dan Campbell biting kneecaps off, chewing tobacco on that bottom lip, drinking quadruple venti mochas, whatever the hell he puts down. Jesus, man. I mean, that man's heart is going to explode. It's gonna. You can't do that. It's too much. Too much for anybody, Mike.
You what?
Oh.
Move up.
Are you getting yelled at by the people in L.A.? Oh.
Yeah, am I trying to rationalize with them? Got a Niners fan. I mean, the Niners were, like the Niners who beat the Lions in the playoffs. Hold on.
It all happening live, folks. Right here, pucksports.com.
Hold on. 73? You cut out. Cowboys trade 24 and a 7th round this year? For 20 and 73? Cowboys trade 24 and a 7th rounder in 2025 to the Lions for 29 and 73 overall this year. So there you go.
You know what? You have to understand.
Okay.
There's so many people that are watching this right now that love that they just got to watch that in real time. That is the only place they're going to see that in real time of you getting the trade details from Dallas and Detroit. As Dallas goes down to 29, Detroit comes up to 24. Do you have, what are the exact details again? You have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Lions get number 24, which they just used on Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, and a 7th rounder next year, which is about as low as it gets.
Okay.
And the Cowboys.
So Aaron Glenn,
this kind of,
Aaron Glenn's got to be happy to get Terrion Arnold at 24. Jesus. Well, there was a bunch of mock drafts that had him going to 16 and going to Seattle.
To go much higher here.
God.
So yeah. I mean, all these offensive players that went earlier pushed all these guys back again, which Seattle was right in the cluster to start selecting those guys. So yeah.
You tell me what you want to get.
Early? I gotta go. I got another mouth to feed in a little bit. Hold on a second. Let me see what they want.
Give me a sec. Just bear with me. Hold on. I got you.
I'll find a spot.
I'm gonna check in to see if Booth and Crabtree are gonna come back here.
From Seattle.
Give me 1 second. Oh.
Because I got to do Jay Onright and I used to work together at Fox when he was there with Dan O'Toole, and then when the two of them went back to Canada, I did hits into their show, and now Jay is solo on TSN, and I do hits with Jay.
Care.
So
how much time do you have? You have 5 minutes. You got to go now.
For that, I got to get dressed up. See, for you, you don't care. You take me as I come, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh yeah, 5 minutes. We're good.
He's still doing the show in Canada, right? Everybody's doing it? Yeah, he's funny. Very funny.
Yeah. He's great.
Hilarious, man.
Great, phenomenal human being.
I love their show when they were on Fox. When they were on Fox, and then it was unbelievable. Yeah.
And they were great. They were great.
I don't know why that didn't work. I don't get it.
They were such great teammates, and it was so fun to be a part of it.
It was good.
They were off the wall.
Funny.
Well,
I like Luke Wilson. Isn't he doing something up there with him? Yeah, dude, Luke. Yeah, Luke will. He's going to have a career in that for sure.
Ran into Luke at the Super Bowl. We took a picture and sent it to Jay. Worlds colliding. You remember last year when Bryce Young? I'm going left field here. Terrion Arnold looks great. Oh, Terrion Arnold, my guy dressed him. My buddy, Gentleman's Playbook on Twitter, Jen's Playbook. Wow, he looks great. Let me give my guy a shout out. He lives in Hoboken with me, and he's made me a couple of suits. But some of the prints, like this one for Terrion Arnold, that's made for him, not for me. If you're seeing this one right now. But he looks phenomenal.
Of the guy of the draft so far, like the picks that have come in, Terrion Arnold went 24 there to the Lions. The Packers, their pick is in, and then it's the Bucks are on the clock. We'll go to the end of the draft. I know Byron Murphy's going to talk to the media. That's what I'm seeing.
Packers pick is in? Who did they announce it? Oh, okay.
Who do you like so far? Like if you look at who's your favorite pick so far? Let's get outside the top 5 maybe, or you can say, listen, Caleb Williams, I think he's your favorite pick. Yeah.
Fuanga.
Yeah.
Talifwanga. I like Byron Murphy. I'm not just playing to the home crowd here. I
He's a great
love
pick.
Quinion Mitchell, especially like it was a need too, right? Those are the ones that I feel good about that are going to have second contracts with their teams. The quarterbacks. It's a lot of times I can sort of have a good feel for that quarterback's not going to work out, and all these guys went to good places. Like, is it this draft could rival?
Really, you think all of them could be good?
Draft.
You think?
I think it really could. Like the 83 6 quarterback draft, and I know that might be some people out there.
Right? No, recently has been.
But 4 out of 6, because the hit rate has not been that good. But these guys are in such, and these guys are in such good spots, and it'll be good because this was a draft that they talked about. This was a draft that they talked about, like, last year was like, next year's draft, and we had kind of heard that a couple of times. I think this is the one where it's really going to hit. I think these guys are all in great spots. Yeah. Caleb's gonna. We talked about his supporting cast when your son was on. Because usually you go your first overall pick, you go to a place where the roster is bare because usually the team stinks. But that wasn't their pick. Like, they won enough games where they would have been picking 9th overall, and they had already built up the offense. So now he's going, and the offense is stacked with talent. So, I think he's going to do well there. Jaden Daniels, I really love, but I also love the pairing with Cliff Kingsbury, so I don't see how that fails. Drake May going to New England is a phenomenal fit for me, and I really like what I've seen from May as far as his ability to be that dude as a quarterback. The J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, which listen, you heard the rumblings that Jaden Daniels wanted to get to either the Raiders or Minnesota because Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, everything they've got up there, as well as Kevin O'Connell was going to be able to coach him up. So that should bode well for him.
I'll ask you one quick one. Somebody on the chat wants to know this. Who's the steal so far?
They're all
you have a steal of the draft?
Basically.
Okay.
I mean, I go back to the guys that I just mentioned probably. I don't know if I'd put Bowers as a steal. Because 13 was about where I had him. But I would say if I had to go with it, I'd have to say Mitchell's a steal. Mitchell's a steal for the Eagles. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Like, last year, Jalen Carter gets to them, which, by the way, he's got to answer the bell a little bit more in Philadelphia. But, like, they had a need. Or they didn't have a need, but they had a guy that's like, okay, we were talking about him potentially, and he just and nobody takes him. And then
I know you got to go here and you give me a thumbs up. Just tell me you want to go. You want to say hello?
It was a surprise. I'll say that for one thing. Like the last listeners, like UPS guy, he was saying that we thought we would, go back in the draft. But you know what? It's kind of like with if you watch the movie Draft Day, it's with Sonny Weaver. Like you get what you get, and if the defensive line does what they need to do, they're going to create less pressure on the linebackers and the cornerbacks and the safeties to help out. And that's going to make sure that Geno can actually get more time to do what he needs to do, and the offensive line to, it's all going to come together. So I think they're going to do great. I think Donald's going to do great. It's just
Ryan, thanks for checking in, man. Thanks for watching, dude.
And,
thanks for all the kind words too.
Legacy without Pete now, I think it's going to be great.
All right, there he is. There's Ryan checking in. I think this is going to be a universally loved draft. I think by everyone. Doesn't it feel that way? I don't know. It feels that way. Nick,
thank you, sir.
Nick, do you like the draft?
I mean, they didn't pull something out of left field like a cornerback or second third-round tight end, so I really can't complain.
I mean, it's just because it's so frustrating. And God bless, we love them, right, Nick? But God, they will do this where you think they're going to pick, and it's like, oh, they're going to trade down.
They finally
that
pulled
was
the
my
trigger,
biggest
so that's a
concern tonight.
miracle.
I'm like, I can't fill this whole thing if they don't pick at 16. It's going to be miserable if they trade down.
Oh. And
yeah.
me and my buddy were talking about it for weeks. I was like, I'm going to be in an emotional tailspin if one of the Huskies goes, if they pass them and they go to the Rams, like Penix or Fatanu. But it worked out well, I guess. But I mean,
all right, what are you drinking on there? I mean, what are you sipping on? What
just
do you got
from
there?
what I saw when the Huskies played them and everything else. So
yeah, there you go.
I mean, we'll see, but
it's okay. A little Coke splashed in there.
What did I get? I think it's Four Roses bourbon.
All right, so big
cheap.
on Murphy, like that.
So.
Now you're a Husky fan, so I'm asking all the Husky fans this because I'm curious because
it's already bad enough.
I'm trying to put myself in the position. Let's say Michael Penix. Let's live an alternative universe here, right? Michael Penix was a Coug, and so we're sitting there at 16, and you have a chance to draft him, but you know that the real need for the team. I mean, quarterback obviously at some point, but the real need is lineman. Okay, so. If he were there, did you want to see them pull the trigger for the quarterback?
At some point.
Yeah. That'd be sweet.
It was one of those fantasy things where, I mean, I envisioned him shooting the arrow after throwing a deep ball to DK, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't? But we have decent players, but we don't have like those good
you can
players
swear.
all
Go
around.
ahead.
Where,
yeah, your kids.
Okay,
what kind of kids do you got? How old are your kids?
I'll say crabs because you said no swearing, but I mean,
hey,
our line, our O line.
I'm sorry. Cheers. Let's cheers. Come on. Oh my God.
2.5 and
buddy,
5 months.
I remember that age. It's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough
2.5-year-olds complaining that Bluey's
it's hard.
Playing, so yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
We're getting through it. But no, I think I could have gotten myself around to Penix. It would have been a cool kind of first, like, yeah, okay, cool. And then it kind of set in like, we don't have a line to protect him at all.
It's gonna be.
No, I don't think.
It's gonna be a weird.
It was either
like
I said, Fatano. Or
for like Anarchy, I wanted to see him there because I just wanted to see if they passed on him and just how everyone would lose their minds. But then there was also part of me, Nick, that wanted them to take him, even though that I love Murphy and I wanted them to take an offensive lineman.
Absolutely.
But a quarterback is a quarterback, right?
And
oof.
No, 100%. But
yeah,
the thought of Penix throwing the cup and Nakua for the next decade, like I said, I would have just been
that would have been miserable. Would have been miserable.
Would have just been not good for me. And firing the arrow against us at Lumen or wherever we're playing with McVay's offense.
I mean, Kirk Cousins. The Kirk Cousins thing has just already been like. I mean, people are losing their minds.
I don't know how Atlanta's going to handle him being out there. That was.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're a gambling degenerate. I did a QB pool, and I had him. I thought Penix was going to the Raiders for sure. I thought it was a lock. I hit what I think. Yeah, it was like the typical 6 quarterbacks in the pool, and then they let you pick Spencer Rattler probably for the Seahawks rumors and stuff like that.
I was talking to Garafolo about it, and it was like
hit everyone
when it was happening, and I'm like,
Atlanta. That was,
and I'm thinking because I remember Atlanta had been mentioned, and then he's like, well, but they got Cousins. I'm like, oh, that's right. They're not going to draft him. They got Kirk Cousins, and then but then Mike stopped me. He's like, it doesn't matter. He goes, they still like him, and so there's still a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Denver with Russ kind of set that precedent. Like, if you screw up with a quarterback, like, you can move on. Like, you can eat the dead money for a while.
Yeah.
And I get that, but like, Kirk's not in the Russell category. He's been pretty consistent. So I don't see. I mean, granted, he's coming back from an Achilles. I mean, I can see where that would
All
be
right.
a problem.
Well,
but
hey, you finished that Four
he's
Roses, the good
perfectly
stuff.
capable. I feel like they have
Okay,
more holes than a quarterback.
attend to those kids,
But
Nick, and I
I don't know,
appreciate
man. We'll see.
you calling in tonight. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
You're the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you as well. There he is. There's Nick for checking in. All right, we have gone.
Hey, man, keep it up. I appreciate it. I listen to you every day.
4
Take it
hours
easy.
and
no problem at all. Take it
26
easy.
minutes.
Have a good night, man.
Without a commercial. Holy Jesus. Crushed enough beers. Actually, not that many. I've had 4. Beer an hour. I had to keep it under check. 1, you're doing a show. 2, I have peed 1 time. The 1 time I've gone to the bathroom, and that was early on. And so if I keep drinking, it's going to be a problem. All right. It just really is. I'm amazed and just stunned how many people checked in tonight. I mean, the numbers over like currently 5,000 views, 20 something thousand overall. All of you that checked in. I can't thank you enough. It was a blast. I can tell you how scared I was to do this tonight and nervous. There's so many moving parts, as you guys probably all know and can kind of sense, right? Live radio, live TV, live this, right? Live theater, live media. There's a lot that can go wrong, and glitches, and people don't show up. And we had a little bit of it. Shout out, tip of the cap to Bobby C, Bob Condotta. But for the most part, we avoided all of that for the most part. And boy, it blew me. It's blown me away how many people checked in. It was awesome. And the fact that nothing really went wrong and we kind of pulled it off. We pulled it off. Can you hear the dogs? You hear the dog, right? That means the teenager is home from babysitting, because the two labs are losing their mind. Yeah, listen to them. They're just going nuts. They're going to lick that girl to death when she walks in that door. I want to thank, first and foremost, all the guests today that joined us. Rob Staton, SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Go over there right now. I'm going to sign off here. Go over to his YouTube page. There's the thumbs up emoji, which I don't know why that comes up if I just do thumbs up or something like that. Go over to Rob's YouTube page right now, Rob Staton on YouTube. He's going to break down a live draft right now with his buddy Robbie. He's awesome. I can't thank him enough for jumping on. He loves to just sit and watch the draft, and he came out for, I said 20 minutes, and I said, man, why don't we just do 30? He did 30, and then he just texts me. It's 5 something in the morning where he lives in London. He's like, I can come back on. I'm like, sure, come back on. Big thanks to Rob. He's on my show. If you don't know, okay, don't work for the radio anymore. He's on my show, pucksports.com. You can follow on YouTube, Puck Sports. It's download the podcast. Please rate, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Apple is, of course, the number 1. Spotify, those are the 2 heavy hitters. Also Amazon. Also YouTube Music for Android users. Those are the best ones. But please like, subscribe. Please leave a comment. It boosts us all up there. So that's Rob is on every Thursday. And his episode drops at 1:00. And again, I'm going to repeat myself a lot here on this because maybe there's some new listeners and new viewers and they don't know. All of our episodes drop at 1:00 every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The daily puck drop, the DPD, we do it every day, record it, boom, puts it up 10 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. About 30 minutes of me just kind of riffing on the top stories in the world of sports. Again, that's 10 a.m. Big thanks to Mike Garafolo. I can't express how much I love that man. He is the salt of the earth, Mike Garafolo. And when I asked Mike to come on and be a part of this, and knowing what he was going to do tonight, sitting there in the LA studios for the NFL Network and tracing all the, tracking all the picks and helping out Pelissero and Rappaport, and he did not hesitate to say, oh yeah, I'll jump on. And he had a lot going on. He's tracking trades, moves, people moving up. I mean, several times, if you're watching earlier, he's taking calls. One time he dropped off, he's taking a phone call from a GM to talk about what's going on. I mean, he just was. No one had that tonight anywhere, and I mean not anywhere in Seattle, anywhere in the country had a guy that was doing a live show from inside the NFL Network studios, breaking down the picks and trades. No one else had that. It's amazing, and I didn't do anything. That's all Mike. So Mike joins us every Thursday as well. Big thanks to him. He and Rob are on Thursdays. Just to give you the schedule, Mondays we do baseball. Jim Duquette, Bill Kruger on Mondays, talking baseball. Jim Duquette's MLB Network Radio. Bill, of course, covers the Mariners for Root Sports. Tuesdays we do a little college football with one of my favorite people in the world. One of the reasons why I'm doing this whole venture, this platform by myself. John Canzano, johncanzano.com, John Canzano BFT. His weekly visit brought to you by Zeke's Pizza. Big shout out to Zeke's for sponsoring John. Wednesdays are back to baseball. Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, Chalet Bowl. Shout out to Reggie. Chalet Bowl, big thanks. They bring you Ryan Divish every Wednesday. Brad Adam, Root Sports, the good-looking Brad Adam, who delayed his visit yesterday because he had to get a haircut. Love you, Brad. His weekly brought to you by John Howie Steak. I told you Thursdays and Friday. We talked to the Human Pony Cake again, Ryan Divish, Chalet Bowl, and then Chris Egan, Fat Sacks Pizza. I think I got them all in. All right. But big thanks to Hartley and Hartley Insurance, Zogs on Fox Island. They bring you Garafolo every Thursday, as I mentioned many times before, but again today. And then also Superior Linen Service that brings you Rob Staton every Thursday. Lastly, and then I'm done, I promise. Huge, huge, huge thanks to my favorite brewery in the land. They make Johnny Utah. They make Rogers. They make Bodhisattva. They make it all. Bob's Brown Ale. To Manny, to Roger, to Matt Conley. Big shout out to Matt. Can't thank that company enough. The largest independent brewery in Washington State. They not only make great beer, which all of you know they make great beer. This is going to be cheesy. They make great people. They are the greatest group of people that you will ever come across. Georgetown Brewery. What they do for the community, or what they do for people when they reach out, second to none. So I came with this idea a few weeks ago, well, about a week ago or so, and they jumped at the opportunity because they are just stewards of the community and always wanted to give back and giving back to anyone. And I just can't thank them enough, and indebted to those guys and gals and everyone that works here forever for my entire life. I love those guys. So did I forget anybody? Guests, callers? That's the last person. The viewers, callers, and people that came in today, thank you. Because I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you. I wouldn't try to do this on my own if it weren't for you. If I didn't believe that we could do something, a little small something in this market, carve out a little niche for ourselves. So, man, love you to death. Love everyone checking in. Love everyone in the chat room. We'll do more of this. We will. I mean, this Puck Sports thing, we are on the tip of the iceberg what we're going to do. I mean, we are just completing. Tomorrow will be our third week. I mean, that's it. The growth that we're going to have here in this venture is going to be unbelievable. Need your guys' support, though. Keep watching, keep listening, subscribing, liking, all of that stuff, because it means a lot. It means a difference, and it means that we can keep this thing going. All right. I'm done. Okay. I am finito. It's been a long night. We've been going at it for 4 hours and 35 minutes. Commercial free. All the guests, all the fun inside. Are we doing it tomorrow? No, we are not. Maybe someday we'll do it the whole draft. We might revisit it here on maybe a Saturday or Sunday, do like a kind of a brief recap of everything. But to everyone watching, commenting tonight, thank you. Daily Puck Drop tomorrow, 10 a.m. Also, Ryan Divish, Chris Egan coming up tomorrow. Again, all episodes drop at 1 o'clock. So until tomorrow morning, we'll talk to you soon, and we promise to be better.